Welcome to Davao Region Connect, in support of the comprehensive region-led learning continuity plan. I Teach, integrating technology, academic community, and the household, ensuring every learner is safe and protected anytime, anywhere. Anchored on Sulong Edukalidad, this is DepEd Regional Office 11, delivering quality education across Davao Region.
Hello, good morning everyone, and welcome to the Regional Orientation on Policy Guidelines and Capability Building on the implementation of the Homeroom guidance during the crisis situation for the school year 2020-2021 today, 1st of October 2020. We all know that Homeroom Guidance is a comprehensive development and proactive program of the Department of Education designed to equip K-12 learners with life skills on 3 domains: academic development, personal and social development, and career development. So welcome you all on this guidance policy implementation on the Region 11 with courtesy of our Regional Director, Department of Education, Region 11, Dr. Evelyn R. Pitalvero, CESO 4, to our Assistant Regional Director, Dr. Maria Inesi Asuncion, CESO 5, to the Chief of the CLMD, Chief John G. Veloso, Dr. Maria Shelo Estrada, Dr. George Wong, our Education Program Supervisors who spearheaded this activity today, and other Education Program Supervisors in the Region 11 and the Division Education Program Supervisors and the rest of the 11 SDOs in the Region 11. Good morning, everyone. And to proceed further, we all sing first our Philippine National Anthem, followed with a prayer and our regional hymn.
Forgive pinanggang yuta, may mungkin apo nga labing taas. Haring agilan na sudnong langgang, walin-walin haras sa kamulakan. May ulawan ug haring durian, lubi ug saging, bugas damian, yutang gimahal sa Davaoenyo, makugihong mga tao. Ang milangko mga probinsya, mga dakbayan nagkahiusa, may gituuhan nga Dios, Davao de Oro, Davao Oriental, del Norte Occidental, del Sur, siyudad sa Davao, Panabutagong, Samal Island, Mati ug Digos. Davao Region, gipanalipdan, mga bahanding kinaiyahan, yutang tabunok, daghanang nindot, nga kapanginabuhian. Garbo sa tanan ng Davao Region, among yuta nga gipangga.
As we welcome you back on the regional orientation on policy guidelines and capability building on the implementation of the homeroom guidance during the crisis situation for the school year 2020-2021. Amidst this global outbreak, such this COVID-19 pandemic, we all have to keep our thoughts positive and always shape the quality of our lives through living and being balanced and mindful. So this is another beautiful and promising day to the entire Region 11 as we have our policy guidelines and the capability building on the homeroom guidance. Such as this, we also would like to acknowledge Dr. Maria Shelo Estrada, the Education Program Supervisor, Region 11, together with Dr. George Wong, Education Program Supervisor. Good morning to all of you. As of this time, we actually have the welcome address of our Chief of the CLMD, Dr. Janet G. Veloso, and so with the welcome message of no less than our Regional Director, Dr. Evelyn R. Petalvero, CESO 5. But because of this preparation and the opening of classes comes October 5, 2020, everyone is really very busy on the evaluation and the monitoring of the 11 SDOs in Davao City. A little later, we'll be joined with the no less than Chief of the CLMD, Chief Janet G. Veloso, together with the Regional Director herself, who is, when you think of alchemy of one achieving person, there will always be two factors that would pop up. Besides her perseverance and hard work in this pandemic, evidence matters to this person. She is no less than our Regional Director, Dr. Evelyn R. Petalvero Ceso 4, together with the Assistant Regional Director, Dr. Maria Ines C. Asuncion, as their name echoes with so much passion, dedication, and hard work to the entire Region 11. Department of Education, 11 SDOs in the Region 11. So as was this time, to proper acknowledge as we are highly indebted on the presence of our guests in attendance today, we have Dr. George N. Wong, Regional Education Program Supervisor, and Counseling Regional Education Program Supervisor on this presentation of participants. Hello there, Dr. George Wong. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Ma'am Aba. Yours or Georgius, ha? Talagang maganda talaga si Ma'am Aba. Hello, everyone. Kaway-kaway naman kayo dyan. Greetings of peace and prosperity. Before I proceed with my task this morning for this virtual orientation, I would like to extend my respect to the top management from the central office who have extended the input for today's activity. I will also extend my respect to the top management from the regional office, spearheaded by our beloved Regional Director, Dr. Evelyn R. Petalveros, CESO 5, and of course, her Assistant Regional Director, Dr. Maria Ines C. Asuncion, CESO 5, and our Chief Dr. Janet G. Veloso, who is recently have the promotion as ASDS of Davao del Sur. Of course, our partner in implementation of the subject area. We have ESSD, Chief Noy Hua, and our very supportive schools division superintendents and their ASDSs. Of course, our focal person for this activity and the program, Mrs. Cielo Estrada, the speakers, the host, and of course our ICT experts from the CLMD, and our teachers in their virtual attendance. Good morning, everyone. Kaway-kaway naman kayo dyan. I'm honored and privileged to present to you the participants of this virtual orientation on policy guidelines on the implementation of homeroom guidance during the crisis situation for the school year 2020-21. Amidst the crisis, we are here to give our full commitment for this subject. To start with, we have from the regional office, we have the chief of the CLMD and the ESSD, as mentioned a while ago, and our ESP focal, no less than the beautiful Mrs. Estrada. Of course, our division SDOs, we have Davao City, kamay-kamay naman dyan, the chief of the CID, SDOD, and their focal, values education focal person, and the class advisors of the K-12 from the public and private schools. So kaway-kaway mga private schools, our partners, and our school guidance counselors and designate from the public and private schools. And of course, our active and very supportive school heads behind the program and our PSDS. So we have from Davao de Oro. So we have chief of the CID and the focal person of ESP and their respective classroom advisors from K to 12 from public and private schools. I would like also to recognize the school guidance counselors designate from public and private schools. And we have the school heads of the same, the public and private schools, and the PSDSs. That is for Davao de Oro Division. Palakpak naman kayo dyan, kahit hindi ko nakikita. Of course, we have from Davao del Norte, we have chief of the SGOD and their focal persons, ESP, and all the class advisors of K-12, public and private schools, the school guidance counselors, and the school heads of the public and private schools, and also their PSDS. That is for Davao del Norte. Palakpak naman kayo dyan, division. Okay, from Davao del Sur, we have the CID, chief, their focal person of ESP, and class advisors, of course, their partners, the private schools, and the school guidance counselors, the same from public and private schools. Andiyan na ba kayo? And, of course, the school head, the very active school head and supportive, and also our PSDS. That is for Davao del Sur Division. And for Davao Occidental, ladies and gentlemen, the same participants from the chief of the SGOD and the focal from Values Education and their classroom advisors and from K-12 with the public and private schools. Of course, their guidance, designate or advocates from public and private also, and we have the school heads of the public schools and private schools. Of course, their supportive PSDSs. We have Davao Oriental. Andyan ba kayo? Kamay-kaway naman kayo dyan. Kaway-kaway naman kayo dyan. Oh, magtago lang kayo kay ang COVID delikado. Of course, we have the CID chief and their focal with the classroom advisors from K to 12, public and private schools, and their school guidance or designate, the same from public and private, and of course the public school heads or principals from public and private schools also with their PSDSS. And for Digos City Division, so we are expecting the CID chief, the focal, and all the advisors of the K to 12 public and private schools, kaway-kaway kayo dyan, school guidance counselors, school heads of the public and private schools, and the PSDSS. Of course, our IGACOs, their chief of the SGOD, and their focal of ESP, and the classroom advisors of K to 12 program, and uh, from the public and private schools. So we have this guidance counselors, the same from public and private schools, and the school heads or the principals from public or private schools, and the PSDS. Of course, we have from Mati City. Palakpakan naman kayo dyan, palakpak. We have the CID chief and the focal person of ESP with their classroom advisors from K to 12 program, public and private schools, the regional, the school guidance counselors, designate, public and private schools, the school heads or principals, public and private schools, and the PSDSS. Okay? So that's for Mati City. For Panabo City, palakpak naman kayo dyan. Our chief sa SDOD and their focal from CID. We have the classroom advisors from K to 12 for public and private schools, the school guidance counselors or designate from public or private schools, and our active supportive school heads from public and private schools, and our PSDS says. Okay? So we have from Tagum City, the same, their chief is now in attendance, and the focal person of ESP, the class advisors from the K to 12, public private schools, their guidance counselors, the public and private schools, and the school heads, public and private schools, and PSDSS. I think that's all, and stay safe. God bless us all. Good morning, everyone. Mama ba?
Yes, thank you so much,
Kaya ba?
Dr. George N. Wong, the Education Program Supervisor, Region 11. Thank you so much for the presentation of the participants. And of course, we also would like to thank our Schools Division Superintendents and the Davao de Oro, Dr. Eufemia T. Gamutin, Davao del Norte Division, Dr. D.D. Silva, in Davao del Sur Division, Dr. Nelson C. Lopez, Davao Occidental Division, Dr. Lorenzo E. Mendoza. We also have from Davao Oriental Division, Dr. Reynaldo B. Meliorida. From Davao City Division, Dr. Reynaldo N. Giliena. Vigo City Division, Dr. Christy C. Epe. Maki City Division, Dr. Alona C. Uy. Panabo City Division, Dr. Reynante Almodiel Solitario. We also have from the Samal City Division, Dr. Winnie E. Batoon. Tagum City Division, Dr. Josephine L. Padul. Thank you so much, together with their respective ESDSs. And thank you so much for the participation in the Regional Orientation on Policy Guidelines and Capability Building on the implementation of the homeroom guidance during the crisis situation for the school year 2020-2021. 1. And of course, we are all set and ready on the opening of classes on October 5, 2020, together with our private sectors, private institutions, and the public institutions, the guidance counselors, and the guidance designates. These are all for you today, and you will have to equip yourselves on the opening of classes, not just only for that, but the entire journey in the Department of Education. And of course, the attendance link, Miss Lo Jane, who is also with me today, our IT director. Attendance link is flashed on the screen, and do not forget to have your complete details, especially so using your Department of Education email addresses. So the attendance link is now on screen. Okay, so we also have a little later the Padlab for your questions, clarifications, verifications, and we are all open for that as our presenters today are all willing, of course, to help us out, address our concerns and issues in our policy guidelines and capability building implementation. And so with that, we have now our first speaker who happens to be, of course, our pretty education program supervisor, the ESP focal person, in the person of Dr. Maria Shelo D. Estrada on her rationale, history, PVM, and the curriculum. So please live on screen, Dr. Maria Shelo D. Estrada. Hello, madam. Good morning to you.
Hi, Abs. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. In a little while, I will be presenting to you the background, the rationale, the philosophy, vision, and mission of this latest homeroom guidance program of the Philippine educational system. So, Luj, may I request Lujin to please present the video? Thank you. To our regional director, Dr. Evelyn R. Fitalvero, our Assistant Regional Director, Dr. Maria Ines Asuncion, our Chief of the CLMD, Dr. Janet Veloso, to our very active participants from the private education sector, and to all of you from DepEd, my fellow servants in the government, good morning. My task is to present to you the rationale, brief history, philosophy, vision, mission, curriculum framework, and the three domains of the homeroom guidance. When we talk about achieving our goal, we cannot avoid from checking our past, not to linger, not for the purpose of lingering on it, but to learn from it. Many of us have been in DepEd for the past 10 to 20 years or even 30 years, and almost all of us have utilized these four colored books for homeroom guidance. These materials were first released in 1997 through Dex Order number 67 series of 1997. Based on that memorandum, its objective says, or its rationale says, that it seeks to develop the student's personality in order to prepare him or her for his or her role in the family, the world of work, and the community. It has its objectives of developing the student's personality through an understanding of self and environment. It also has its objective of discovering or enhance the aptitude, interest of the student to prepare him or her for the world of work and higher academic or non-academic studies. From the homeroom guidance, the old homeroom guidance, let me present to you the next phase in the evolution of the Philippine Homeroom Guidance Program. And this is the Revitalized Homeroom Guidance Program, or the RHGP. This is its conceptual framework. As you can see, there are three groups of bases in the development of this Revitalized Homeroom Guidance Program. It presents the needs of the Filipino adolescent, or it considered the needs of the Filipino adolescent. It has its legal basis, which are made up of the laws and other legal issuances and orders of the Philippine government and the Department of Education. It also considered the needs of Philippine and global society. As we can see, it still follows the input, process, and output flow. Its input includes its objective, which has been mentioned a while ago, and then part of its input are the following: the curriculum development processes, which include the results of researches, retesting of a prototype guidance program, materials development, teacher training, tryouts. It also includes the Filipino adolescent learner. It also includes the high school occupational interest inventory as part of its input, the Philippine specific aptitude test battery, and the requirements of the world of work. Okay. Its processes include the roles of the school, where different values and skills are being taught, the inculcation of acceptable traits at the home, family, and different learning experiences that the learners may get from the community in order to attain its expected output. The revitalized homeroom guidance program has laid down its clear expected output in this particular conceptual framework, and that is to develop caring, responsible, and committed member of the society, or the family or country rather, one who is skillful in making decisions, can relate his or her potentials to the varying job requirements to arrive at realistic career or vocational choices. So where did we get the term homeroom? As early as 1959, in an issuance which was entitled Clarification of the Guidance Provisions of the Revised Philippine Educational Program, such particular memorandum mentions that homerooms are units of organization which give the importance to the individual student and make him the core of all activities undertaken to help develop his personality and cultivate his social relationships with his classmates. So, as early as 1959, there is already that declaration that homerooms are important units of an organization. It is an important unit of the school. It is an important unit of the Philippine educational program or system. By virtue of Dex Order number 52, series of 1998, the revitalized homeroom guidance program before was only given to secondary level learners or the junior high school uh, this time. It was allotted with 40 minutes per session. So there were just 30 to 32 sessions per school year, or 7 to 8 sessions for each grading period. There may be modifications which greatly depend on the activities conducted in the regions and schools. Okay. Then in 2015, the Department of Education started to evaluate the revitalized homeroom guidance program. From the result of its evaluation, it developed its curriculum guide. It formulated its policies for its implementation. It developed learning materials. And it conducted several trainings, just like what we are doing now. As of this time, we are cascading an important um, information about the implementation of the homeroom guidance. So this slide will answer our question as to whether or not there were processes which were involved in the CG development. Of course, there are processes prior to the development, or the Department of Education Central Office have conducted several processes in order for them to arrive at that decision of developing the curriculum guide. At first, there was this survey on the implementation of the RHGP. There was that focused group discussion in order to analyze its needs. What are the needs which are vital for the for if ever vital if ever there will be modifications of the RHGP. There was also that evaluation of RHGP materials, and from that it was found out, according to that record in the Department of Education Central Office, that there were findings and reports that RHGP time slots or allocations were just used for collection, were just used for cleaning of the classroom, were just used for collection of reply documents from the parents. And by that, by those findings, uh, the Department of Education came up with this proposal of homeroom guidance curriculum development based on the evaluation results. Okay, so why homeroom guidance? Bakit homeroom guidance? But before we are going to answer that, because when we say why homeroom guidance, is this just a duplication of the edukasyon sa pagpapakatao? Duplikasyon lang ba yan sa edukasyon sa pagpapakatao? What is the difference between the implementation of the homeroom guidance and the implementation of the edukasyon sa pagpapakatao? So before we are going to answer that, let me first present to you a sample of the guidance and counseling services which are provided by our guidance counselors in school. Okay, so our guidance counselors in school have this nine, based on the pie charts, have these nine um, services. Number one is the individual inventory. They are going to conduct individual inventory in order for them to fully assess the development of each learner in school. Okay, they made follow-ups. They made research and evaluation. They are also making placement services. They are making consultations or accepting consultations. They are sometimes conducting psychological assessment, though most of the time they are referring this extreme cases of interventions to professionals outside of school. They also do referrals. They also do counseling, particularly. This is the largest part of the pie, the counseling part, and then the information services. Notice that in the information services, the homeroom guidance is part of it. So 15% is information service, but part of this information service is the implementation of the homeroom guidance. So now let's go back to the question. So what is the difference between the ESP and the homeroom guidance? Are they just similar? Is it just a duplication? Is homeroom guidance just a duplication of the edukasyon sa pagpapakatao? Based on um, record, the homeroom guidance is so much different from the ESP. The homeroom guidance focuses on the development of life skills, while the edukasyon sa pagpapakatao focuses on a moral compass and the ethical behavior or the concept of what is right and what is wrong. Okay. Aside from those data which were gathered, DepEd was also able to gather this present societal problems, which really poses a threat on the quality of leaders that this country may have in the future. These are the challenges. Number one, drug addiction, bullying, dropouts, followed by academic failures, unhealthy sexual behavior, online and social media addiction, confused career choices, teenage pregnancy, and other vices. Such grounds are to be treated as threats to the development of our future leaders. So the government, through DepEd, has come up with a more comprehensive, proactive, and developmental program that will equip our learners with rational thinking skills, healthy behavior, and positive disposition. So our learners, after going through the homeroom guidance, they are expected to be making sound decisions or decisions which are data based and with utmost consideration of the pros and cons of a particular situation. Hence, in homeroom guidance, our learners are taught with skills on how to think rationally. It is also in homeroom guidance which healthy behavior is being promoted. And when you say healthy behavior, it does not only entail physical health, but it greatly entails mental health. So our learners should not just be physically healthy, they should be also be mentally healthy. Our learners are expected to practice positive disposition wherein they are going to display resiliency, optimism, and perseverance. So these are the skills which are expected to be developed by our learners when they undergo homeroom guidance. Okay, now let's go to the philosophy in homeroom guidance. Homeroom guidance believes that every learner is unique and has the ability to develop him herself using his or her own learning and experiences from family, community, school, and society. This shall be realized through the collaborative efforts of the family, school, community, government, and other institutions. So, meaning to say, our learner is unique and has the ability to develop herself using the varied learning experiences which were contributed by his family, the community, and the school and the society where he lives in. It also has its vision, which says that homeroom guidance shall complement the department's goal, which is to produce holistically developed Filipinos who are able to achieve academic success, demonstrate healthy behavior, exemplify positive disposition, and systematically plan their future. It shall produce learners who can work for the common good of society while upholding international standards. Homeroom guidance also has its mission. It is dedicated to address the academic, personal, social, and career development needs of the learners in a developmental, comprehensive, and proactive manner. Now, let me present to you the conceptual framework of the latest Philippine Homeroom Guidance Program, which we are going to implement starting October 5, 2020. So, this is the conceptual framework. After a thorough accounting on the needs of the learners in Philippine society and global community, anchored on the different theoretical bases such as the Crombold's Sugar and Ginsberg career development theories, Brunner's scaffolding theory, Erickson's psychosocial development theory, Rousseau's learner-centered theory, and Piaget's cognitive learning theory. I believe I am no longer be obliged to elaborate these theories because as educators we are all familiar with this. Okay, and guided by laws of the Philippines as its legal basis, DepEd came up with the three developmental domains that serves as the foundation of this human homeroom guidance that we need to implement. These are the academic development domain, the personal and social development domain, and the career development domain. The development domain or the development of these domains rather in every person of our learners through the homeroom guidance can only be achieved through close collaboration among the school, the home, the community, and other institutions. As you can see, the arrows in the illustration or in the framework are continuing because of the fact that the process of developing these domains is a lifelong process. Okay? The standards and the competencies are the same from grades 1 to 12. In homeroom guidance, The standards are the same from grades 1 to 12. The only difference is the complexity of the competency indicators. Same standards, but presented in different contexts. Okay? The competency indicators are arranged from simple to complex and focus on the development of higher order thinking, such as analyzing and evaluating concepts, processes, procedures, and principles rather than just remembering. So the competency indicators are being arranged from simple to complex, though they only have the same standards, but they are presented in different contexts. And the higher order thinking skill is being promoted in this homeroom guidance program. Higher order thinking skills of analyzing and evaluating concepts, processes, and procedures and principles. um, it is not just mere remembering. So higher order thinking skills is still being promoted in the implementation of the homeroom guidance program. Okay. So as mentioned earlier, there are three domains in this homeroom guidance program. And the first one is the academic domain, as mentioned earlier. And this academic domain is guided by Brunner's scaffolding theory, by Rousseau's learner-centered theory, and by Piaget's cognitive learning theory. Another domain is the personal and social domain, which is guided by Erickson's psychosocial development, and the career domain, which is guided by Crombold's theory of career development, Super's developmental theory of career choice, and Ginsberg's concept of career development. The other important aspects, policies, and guidelines in the implementation of this homeroom guidance program will be presented this afternoon. I hope that you are fully apprised as to the rationale, history, philosophy, vision, mission, and conceptual framework of the latest homeroom guidance program of the Department of Education, which shall form part and parcel of the K to 12 program that will be implemented starting October 5, 2020. So that would be all for this particular topics. And thank you very much for listening. See you in the afternoon for another session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much to our very own Education Program Supervisor, Dr. Maria Shelobi Estrada, on the rationale, history, philosophy, vision, mission, the PVM, and the curriculum. And of course, thank you so much, Madam Estrada, which inspires them to give their best as teachers and future leaders in both public and private institutions to attain such worthwhile future. It guides and challenges how our teachers are expected to behave, and nevertheless, the vision statement also shapes the comprehension of the institution stakeholders and gives the cause for their wanting to be identified in the institution. Wow! Kasang-kasa na talaga sa pagbubukas ng ating klase kasi this time, Dr. Maria Shelobi Estrada gave the rationale and the philosophy, the vision, the mission, which will guide us on the opening of classes, especially so to our guidance counselors, guidance designates on the opening of classes to the class advisors in handling our learners, and despite the fact that we face the global outbreak, this COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, the crisis that we face on this 2020. And of course, at this time, let's loosen up a bit. Of course, we'll witness the Panabo City Division on the winning competition on the regional video competition for the opening of classes on October 5, 2020. This will gonna be the official video on the opening of classes on 2020, and this was spearheaded by the none less than the education program supervisor herself, Dr. Jesselyn De La Cuesta. So my dear Lo Jane, the IT director who's with me this time, please let us all watch the video on the winning competition all the way from, ladies and gentlemen, the division of Panabo City.
Nak! Gising na! May online class ka pa.
Anong oras na ba? Oo, Nay! Gagayak na! Alas 7 na pala, sikat ng araw andyan na. Inahanda ang sarili sa panibagong umaga. Sabay almusal at nag-aantay.
Oh, kain ka muna, anak.
Ako'y talagang excited na. Auto-click agad sa link at ready for login na. Ayan! Connecting na! Good morning, sir! Di akalain kahit ganito ang sitwasyon natin sa pandemyang ito. Alam natin ang katotohanan, edukasyon ay may solusyon. Magpapatalo ba sa lahat kung may solusyon na nakaangat? Ano bang hinihintay? Halina at sumabay. Bubuhayin ang bukas, problema'y lilipas, kinabukas ay itaas, handang isipan ng bukas.
Ma, paano yan? Isa niyo yung laptop natin. Anong gagamitin ni Bunso?
Okay lang yan, nakausap ko ng teacher niya. Magmo-module na lang daw siya. Pwede niya pa rin pagpatuloy ang kanyang pag-aaral.
Ay, salamat! Buti nilang at may ibang pagpipilian. Ito ang araw-araw ng mga panibagong gawain. Bilang mga estudyante, kailangan naming intindihin. Naku po! Nawawala ang internet! Sir, present po!
O sige na, galingan mo dyan ha. Tutulungan ko mga kapatid mo sagutan ng mga modules.
Buksan ang isipan, mabibigo pero hindi susuko. Alam natin ang katotohanan, edukasyon ay may solusyon. Magpapatalo ba sa lahat kung may solusyon na nakaangat? Ano bang hinihintay? Halina at sumabay. Bubuhayin ang bukas, problema'y lilipas, kinabukas ay itaas, handang isipan ng bukas. Sa lahat, kinatatakutan ng bata't matanda. Kahit anong profesyon mo pa, sa malawang pag-isip laging handa. Stay at home, work from home is your normal. Wash your hands, sanitize para safe ka. Alam kong maraming diskarte ang mga Pinoy, di magpapakulian pa ba? Matatag, magaling at determinado, hindi susuko makamit ang tropeyo. Ano pa iyong estado sa buhay ay mananalo? Estudyante Pinoy ka, makakayanan natin to. Bubuksan ang isipan, mabibigo pero hindi susuko. Alam natin ang katotohanan, edukasyon ay may solusyon.
Oh, anak! Kumusta? Anong resulta?
Nay, sakit! Yes, Nay! Pasado ako! Magpapatalo sa lahat kung may solusyon na nakaangat. Ano bang hinihintay? Halina at sumabay. Sisikatin ang araw, problema'y lilipas, kinabukas ay itaas. Edukasyon sa Pilipinas, handang isip, handang bukas. Handang bukas para sa kaunlaran, handa tayo para bukas.
Okay, there you go. Congratulations to DepEd Panabo City Division for winning the first prize in the Regional Musical Video Competition for the opening of classes 2020-2021. The winning piece will be played in all schools, entire DepEd Region 11. Handang isip, handa bukas. Davao, live is here. Go DepEd Region 11. Sulong Edo Calidad. Congratulations, of course, to the Education Program Supervisor herself, Dr. Jocelyn De La Cuesta. And of course, at this time, We'll move to our next session, and this is becoming practically engaging and interesting by the Education Program Specialist 2, Division of Davao del Norte, by Madam Melanie O. Mandin, Registered Guidance Counselor, on her homeroom guidance, curriculum, and most essential learning competencies. Good morning, Madam.
Good day, everyone. Our next topic is the homeroom guidance curriculum and most essential learning competencies. The presentation explains directly to the different standards, competencies, and competency indicators of the homeroom guidance three domains, namely academic, personal, social, and career. Further, it explains too how most essential learning competencies listed and what are the criteria being followed. These were done to ensure that the grade level standards along with the corresponding competencies are still attained. So to present the whole content of the homeroom guidance, curriculum, and most essential learning competencies, let me present to you Ma'am Melinda Andres, Senior Education Program Specialist of Bureau of Curriculum Development.
Good day. Truly, Homeroom Guidance is a developmental and proactive program that has standards and competency that cut across all grade levels. The competency indicators are arranged from simple to complex and focus on the development of higher order thinking, such as analyzing and evaluating concepts, processes, procedures, and principles rather than just remembering. We should be aware that the standards and the competencies of common guidance are anchored on certain theories since each domain has its own peculiarities in consideration of the needs of Filipino learners and society. Homeroom guidance is composed of three domains as academic, personal and social, and career. Since homeroom guidance follow the developmental level of learners, its identified standards and competency cut across all grade levels. However, the level of difficulty in the competency indicators varies as learners progress in the grade level. The academic development is guided by Jerome Bruner's scaffolding theory that espouses that children will become independent learners as they mature if they are given the support and active help from their parents and teachers at the onset of their learning. The said theory states that the scaffold, reminiscent of a building scaffolding of the growing child in their learning process, is the knowledgeable person within their proximity. That is, their parents at home and teachers in school. Now, let's discuss the standard for academic domain. Okay. First, understand the knowledge, skill, and positive attitude for the achievement of optimum learning in school and in daily living. Here, let us take, for instance, the methods of effective study habit toward lifelong learning of our learners. Second, analyze the relevance of experiences in school and community toward academic success, in which learners consider positive and negative experiences in school and community toward success. Third, utilize knowledge and skill toward academic success where here the learners can demonstrate talents, interests, and skills relevant to learning. Fourth, develop academic skills to respond to community development based on international standards, in which learners participate in school activities relevant to the needs of community, especially this pandemic. The standard and its competency of the academic domain in which First is to understand the knowledge, skill, and positive attitude for the achievement of optimum learning in school and in daily living. And its competencies are first, identify the methods of effective study habits toward lifelong learning. Second, demonstrate effective study habits. Third, share knowledge, skills, and positive attitude helpful in lifelong learning. Here, they can describe good study habits, show how they value studying. Next, number 2 standard for academic domain is to analyze the relevance of experiences in school and community toward academic success. The competencies are consider positive and negative experiences in school and community toward success. Okay. Second, share the lesson learned from school and community that can be used in daily living. Third, apply lesson from home, school, and community to daily living with consideration to family and society. Here, an example that our learners can differentiate the good and bad experiences in school and community. Also, they can identify the healthy and unhealthy brought by their experiences. Next, third, utilize knowledge and skill toward academic success. Its competencies are demonstrate talents, interests, and skill relevant to learning. Second, enrich knowledge and skill toward academic success. And third, prepare using knowledge and skill toward academic success. Okay, learners can identify skills, talents, and interests relevant to the attainment of their learning. Next, the fourth standard for academic domain is to develop academic skill to respond to community development based on international standards. Its competencies are participating school activities relevant to the needs of community. Second, demonstrate the academic excellence based on global needs. Third, lead ways that respect and protect the environment. Here, our learners can identify skills learned from school. For example, how to appreciate being active and participating relevant to the environment or taking care of our surrounding. On this slide, we can see the personal social domain. Mind you that the personal and social development domain in Homeroom Guidance got inspiration from the theory of Erik Erikson's psychosocial development. Its descriptive overview of social and emotional development was taken as one of the considerations in crafting the standards and competencies. His view on mastering the attitudes, ideas, and skills at each stage of development to help learners to be successful and contributing members of society is highly evident in the program. And these standards are first, understand the importance of oneself and others. Second, analyze responsible decision and goals toward achievement of personal welfare and common good. Third, apply ability to protect oneself and others toward effective ways of problem solving. Fourth, enrich ability to share oneself to respond to international standards. Okay, so this is the standard for the personal and social domain. The first is to understand the importance of oneself and others. Its competencies are value oneself, value others, respect individual differences, gain understanding of oneself and others. Here, the learners can identify one's likes, dislikes, talents, and interests. They can also enumerate one's basic rights as a child or identify one's task at home and in school. Next, second standard is to analyze the responsible decisions and goals toward achievement of personal welfare and common good. Its competencies are examine the different factors in decision making for the achievement of success. Second, provide proper procedure toward responsible decision making. Third, evaluate experiences in decision making towards achieving common good. Here, learners can list down the people who can help make sound decisions, enumerate the steps in making good decisions, or show the importance of help from adults when making good decision or sound decision, making ways of making good decision. Next is to enrich ability to share oneself to respond to international standards. Its competencies are share one's abilities for the development of others and community. Engage oneself in meaningful programs and initiatives for the common good. Strengthen self-empowerment to respond to the needs of the community and respond to personal and social needs that can contribute to the promotion of international standards. Here, our learners can describe the people or they can identify the activities that can one participate in school and community or show a willingness to participate in school and community activities and also demonstrate healthy relationship to others. Recall situation where problems were solved appropriately or make a simple personal commitment to participate in school and community activities. Okay, next, the standard for career development domain. The career development domain is influenced by the career development theories of John Crumboltz, Donald Suffer, and Ellie Ginsberg. Crumbolt's theory of career development claims that genetic endowment, that includes sex, race, developmental disability, innate talents, affect the career choice of a person. Furthermore, the environment, life events, and learning experiences also shape one's career decisions. People's changing roles and priorities create a great impact on their career direction. Now, these are the standard for career domain or career development domain. First is to understand the importance of knowledge, skill, and positive attitude helpful to daily living and their relation to life and profession. Second, analyze the relationship of one's skill and experiences in choosing a profession, vocation, and future plans. Third, apply the ability to choose their own field based on the different factors toward achieving goals in life. Fourth, implement steps toward the realization of chosen profession and vocation based on international standard. Also, the concept of career development as a lifelong process, including its early development of Ginsberg, is clearly reflected in the career development domain of the program. The homeroom guidance advocates the early inclusion of career concept in the lives of learners and guides them as they discover the path that they want to take. Okay, now let's take a look on the career domain. Its first standard is to understand the importance of knowledge, skill, and positive attitude helpful to daily living and their relation to life and profession. Its competencies are identify factors related to life and profession and explain the significance of knowledge and skill needed in life and profession. So here, learners can name things that they can do well or link the things one can do well with the different works or perform things that learner can do well. Next, standard is to analyze the relationship of one's skill and experiences in choosing a profession, vocation, and future plans. Its competencies are first, gather information about life, profession, and vocation. Second, understand the importance of guidance from parents or guardians and significant adults in choosing a profession, vocation, and future plans. Third, relate the choice of profession, vocation, and future plans to one's skill, competencies, and the roles of parents or guardians and significant adults. Fourth, strengthen the connection among knowledge, skill, and roles of parents or guardians and significant adults in choosing a profession, vocation, and future plans. Here, learners can differentiate the roles of the people in their community. No? They can show appreciation on the roles of the people or visualize a good community member. Next is to apply the ability to choose their own field based on the different factors toward achieving goals in life. The competency or describe the chosen field, decide for life and profession, and reflect on the decision made for life and profession. Here, learners can identify different career choices, describe the traits and function of different people in the community or show appreciation of the contribution of the people in the community or simulate one's preferred work. Next, implement steps toward the realization of chosen profession and vocation based on international standards. Its competencies are determine aspects that need to be valued in planning life and profession. Second, state step to fulfill the goal in life. Third, outline plans for the chosen profession, vocation, and the future. Show adherence to step based on the outlined plan. So here, learners can create a simple plan to improve oneself or preparation for one's future or value the role of a simple plan to prepare oneself for the future. This is a sample of a curriculum guide. No? As you can see, for the first column, we have there the standard. The second is the competencies. Third is the competency indicator. And the last column is the code. Okay, so as we can see here, the first column is the standard. And it consists of academic, personal, social, and career development domain. Now, the competencies for the academic and personal social domain, and also for the career development domain. Okay, next. The competency indicators for academic domain. Okay, as we can see, first is to state the study habits for lifelong learning. Show the readiness to learn with self-confidence using one's skill and apply effective study habits. That's for to demonstrate effective study habits. And to share knowledge, skill, and positive attitude helpful in lifelong learning. Its competency indicators are show positive attitude in studying, demonstrate the ability to work independently on personal and school activities, and show the ability to work independently and collaboratively, which will contribute to lifelong learning. Okay, next, we have another competency indicators. That's the competency for value oneself, and the competency indicator is to recognize the basic rights and responsibility of a child. Also, to identify personal strength, weaknesses, talents, abilities, interests, and values. Okay, so next. Then on this slide, we can see the competency indicators for the career development domain. Okay, so identify one's skill, interest, and competency, and enumerate the importance of knowledge and skill necessary to life and profession. Okay, now this time, let's take a look on the code legend. We can see the code here. No? The letter H, G, P, A, dash, Roman numeral 1, lowercase a, dash, 1. SG stands for homeroom guidance, P as primary level, A for academic domain, PS, if you can see a PS there, that is personal and social domain. If you can see the letter C, that's career domain. And the Roman numeral 1, that stands for the quarter. And the lowercase a stands for the week. And the number 1 there is the number of competency indicator. Okay, so in the light of the COVID-19 pandemic, the DepEd through the VCD, CSDD has produced a list of homeroom guidance most essential learning competency. This was done in order to ensure that the grade level standards along with the corresponding competencies are still attained. Homeroom guidance curriculum is essential to ensure access to quality guidance and counseling services for all types of learners. Hence, different learning modalities will be made available in the implementation of the homeroom guidance program. In the process of identifying the most essential learning competency, the endurance criterion was also used, that a learning competency is useful in a lifelong learning. More homeroom guidance, most essential learning competency criteria are applicability to real life situations, that during this pandemic, the safety, health, and well-being of the learners be protected, needs of the learners in these times of COVID-19 pandemic should be safety and security, complements learning competency developed in other academic subjects, so that work in close association with other competency in other subject. Now, let's take a look on this table for kindergarten level. The first column shows the quarter of school year. The second column, which is the homeroom guidance curriculum guide. Under these are the number of learning competency in academic, personal and social, and career development domain. Then the next column is the homeroom guidance most essential learning competency, or what we call the MELCs. Under these are the number of learning competency in academic, personal, social, and career development domain. For the first quarter, the total number of learning competency from the homeroom guidance curriculum guide is 18, while on the homeroom guidance MELCs, there are 6 from personal social domain. So why merely from personal social domain? It's because kindergarten learners need to understand the importance of oneself and others. For the second quarter, the total number of learning competency from the homeroom guidance curriculum guide are 14, and now on the homeroom guidance MELCs, there are 4 MELCs from the personal social domain and 2 MELCs from the career development domain, with a total of 6 MELCs. Now, why personal social? To gain more understanding of the importance of oneself and also to analyze responsible decision by providing proper steps toward decision making. For the third quarter, the total number of learning competency from the curriculum guide are 14, and looking on the MELCs, there are 5 MELCs from personal social and 1 MELC from career development domain, with a total of 6 MELCs. For the fourth quarter, the total number of learning competency from the homeroom guidance curriculum guide are 13, and now there are 1 MELC from academic, 4 MELCs from personal social, and 1 MELC from career development domain. Now, looking at the total of the MELCs, there are 1 MELC or 1.7% from the total number of learning competency in curriculum guide from academic domain, which develop academic skill to respond to community development. 19 MELCs or 32.20% from the total number of learning competency in curriculum guide from personal and social, which guide our learners understand the importance of oneself and others, especially during the pandemic. And for MELCs, or 6.78% from career development domain, which our learners may take step to fulfill their goal in life. So overall, there are 24 MELCs in kindergarten level, which is 41% from the total number of learning competency on homeroom guidance curriculum guide. Now, we can see an example of the homeroom guidance most essential learning competency for kindergarten level, which on the first column is the quarter for the school year. Next column is the standard for the three domains. Next is the competencies and MELCs, which are arranged from simple, complex, and focus on the development of higher order thinking, such as analyzing, evaluating concept, process, procedure, rather than just remembering. Next, this table now shows the data of MELCs for primary level. For the first quarter, the total number of learning competency from the curriculum guide is 20, while on the MELCs, there are 8 MELCs from personal social. For the second quarter, the total number of learning competency are 14, and there are 8 MELCs. For the third quarter, the total number of learning competency are 18, and there are 8 MELCs. For the fourth quarter, there are 14 learning competency, and there are 9 MELCs. So there are a total of 33 MELCs for the primary level, which are 50% of the learning competency from curriculum guide. These comprise 37.88% or 25 MELCs from personal social, which shows that our learners will be guided to understand the importance of oneself and others, and also analyze responsible decisions and goals toward the achievement of personal welfare and common good, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, let's take a look of the example of the curriculum guide or most essential learning competency for primary level. Okay, next. On this slide is for intermediate level. For the first quarter, the total number of learning competency from the curriculum guide are 25, and there are 9 MELCs. For the second quarter, the total number of learning competencies are 25, and there are 8 MELCs. For the third quarter, the total number of learning competencies are 25, and there are 9 MELCs. For the fourth quarter, there are 28 learning competency, and there are 9 MELCs. So there are a total of 35 MELCs for the intermediate level, which are 34% of the learning competency from curriculum guide. So this comprise of 25.24% or 26 MELCs from personal social, which shows that our learners will be guided in applying their ability to protect oneself or themselves and others toward effective ways of also problem solving. 6.8% or 7 MELCs from academic domain so that they can utilize their knowledge and skills toward academic success during the pandemic. 1.9% or 2 MELCs to analyze the relationship of skills and experiences. Okay, next slide is a sample of the most homeroom guidance, most essential learning competency for our intermediate level. Okay, so now let's take a look on that. For example, the competency for valuing oneself, the most essential learning competency is recognize that changes in oneself is a part of development. Examine one's thought, feelings, beliefs, and the difference between appropriate and inappropriate behavior. Recognize the importance of others as part of family, school, and community on valuing others. For the respect for the individual differences, the most essential learning competency, okay, is to explain the importance of individual differences. And to gain understanding of oneself and others, The most essential learning competency is to determine the fundamental rights of oneself and others, relate oneself to others, and share the lesson from the personal experiences by empathizing with others. Okay, so next, okay, this one is for the junior high school most essential learning competency table. For the first quarter, the total number of learning competency is are 21 and there are 8 MELCs. For the second quarter, the total number of learning competencies are 23 and there are 10 MELCs. For the third quarter, the total number of learning competency are 20 and there are 8 MELCs. For the fourth quarter, there are 27 learning competency on the curriculum guide and there are 10 MELCs. So there are a total of 36 MELCs for the junior high school, which are 40% of the learning competency for from the curriculum guide. So this comprises of 21.98% or 20 MELCs from personal social, 9 MELCs or 9.89 from career development domain, and 7 MELCs or 7.7% from academic domain. Higher number of personal and social domain because learners need to have the ability to protect themselves and others during the crisis or the pandemic. Okay, this is also example of the most essential learning competency for the junior high school. Next. Okay, so for this, as the table for the senior high school reveals that for the first quarter, the total number of learning competency from the curriculum guide are 15 and there are 4 MELCs. For the second quarter, the total number of LCs are 13 and there are 3 MELCs. For the third quarter, the total number of LC are 12 and there are 4 MELCs. For the fourth quarter, there are 13 learning competency from the curriculum guide and there are 4 MELCs. There are a total of 15 MELCs for senior high school, which are 28% of the LC or learning competency from the curriculum guide. Next is a sample of the most essential learning competency of the senior high school. Okay, finally, on this slide is the summary of the homeroom guidance most essential learning competencies per grade level. So we have a total of 402 most essential learning competency. So the final outcome is holistically developed learners who are functioning well and equipped with life skill through homeroom guidance curriculum, especially during the pandemic. Have a meaningful day and always keep safe, healthy, and happy. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. And we're back live and alive once again to our regional orientation policy guidelines and capability building on the implementation of the homeroom guidance during the crisis situation for the school year 2020-2021. And of course, you just have heard Madam Melanie Omandin, Registered Guidance Counselor, Education Program Specialist 2, Division of Davao del Norte, on her homeroom guidance, curriculum, and most essential learning competencies. Wow, that's quite a lot for Madam Melanie O. Mandin, RGCFs2, on the homeroom guidance curriculum that the Department of Education shall implement goal, which is to produce holistically develop our learners who are able to understand themselves, have problem-solving skills, make informed decisions, achieve academic success, and plan for the future. Thank you, Madam Melanie O. Mandin. And of course, at this time, we are always reminded of our attendance. Please complete the details and encourage for you to use your DepEd email addresses. And of course, the Padlet link, Miss Lou Jane, our IT director today. Please flash on the screen, Miss Lou Jane, our Padlet link, of course, our Region 11 participants, both in the private and public institutions, for us to have a better discussion, to foster better discussion and prepare us all on the seminar leadership that we have from our topics today. You may post your questions, issues or concerns or clarifications and verifications on the Padlet link that is flashed on the screen. Thank you so much, Madam Lou Jane, our IT Director from the Regional Office 11. And of course, at this time, to go further, time check, it's 9:46 in the morning. We have still more time and we move on to the next session on the procedure, assessment, monitoring, and evaluation of our education program supervisor, Dr. Maria Shelo B. Estrada, Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao, Focal in the Region 11. Okay, Miss Lou Jane, please now have her discussion. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon po sa lahat. So good afternoon. Today, I'm going to discuss the procedure, assessment, monitoring, and evaluation of homeroom guidance as indicated in DMCI 155 series of 2020, or the policy guidelines on the implementation of homeroom guidance most essential learning competencies during crisis for school year 2020-2021. I am Joanna Kristen Valdez, a registered guidance counselor and a senior education program specialist from the Bureau of Curriculum Development. The implementation of this program shall be governed and guided by the following principles. First, nomenclature. Homeroom guidance shall be reflected in the class program of every school in the school forms as homeroom guidance. It is abbreviated as HG. Second, on medium of instruction, the learning materials are written in English, but the regions may opt to use their mother tongue or any language convenient to the learners to ensure participation and interaction during the session and better understanding of the concepts. This is also including the outputs that they are going to submit for this year. Third, time allotment. Time allotment for homeroom guidance is 1 hour or 60 minutes per week from grade 1 to grade 12, while for kindergarten, it will be included in their blocks of time. Fourth, on class program, the homeroom guidance shall be scheduled once a week. So we need to consider and adjust depending on the learning modality of the learner, as long as it complies with the time allotment of 1 hour per week or 60 minutes per week. You can also use the time allotment stated or indicated in the modules as your guide in the delivery of the modules or in the delivery of the lessons of the modules. Fifth, the class advisor shall be assigned to implement the homeroom guidance program with the technical assistance of the guidance counselor. If the school does not have a guidance counselor, the school head may assign a guidance designate, but he or she should be provided with proper training specific to the implementation of homeroom guidance. Sixth, collaboration with family and community is also encouraged in order to create a venue for the learners in developing the skills in academic, personal, social, and career development. We have to remember that education is everybody's business. On teaching load, teaching homeroom guidance shall be equivalent to one teaching load on top of the teacher's advisory and subjects load. Eight, homeroom guidance shall not be viewed as a formal learning area like edukasyon sa pagpapakatao or ESP and the like. It shall be treated as a program that will help learners develop the competencies needed in the three domains. Hence, its delivery in class is quite informal, but still follows the structured learning experience flow. So what is a structured learning experience? So this is collaborative, experiential, supervised, in-depth, and it aims to provide learners with opportunities to learn and demonstrate attainment of competencies. Ninth, on orientation and capacity building. The central office, through the Bureau of Curriculum Development, shall conduct orientation and capacity building to region and division supervisors in charge of guidance and counseling. So regions, schools, divisions shall conduct training for the program implementers to capacitate and prepare them for the implementation of homeroom guidance most essential learning competencies. As you can see on your screen, we are done with the July 29 activity, which is the orientation of region and division supervisors in charge of guidance and counseling. And it was really a successful activity. And then today, August 13, we are having the capacity building of region and division guidance designate or in charge of guidance and counseling. Also with us today are our school heads and supervisors. And starting Monday, August 17, you can have your own division orientation or capacity building of school heads and guidance counselors. I think this is depending on the decision of the division, if they see it necessary for them to hold another orientation for their school heads and guidance designates or guidance counselors. 10th, the homeroom guidance most essential learning competencies and learning materials will be issued by the Department of Education. So this was already issued last June together with other most essential learning competencies of the other subjects, okay? And the learning materials will be available. Hopefully, it can be downloadable through the LR portal by August 2020. 11th, homeroom guidance assessment results must be distributed and discussed by the class advisor during the parent-teacher conference. This shall be issued as an attachment to the learner's report card. 12th, DepEd schools shall include all expenses relative to homeroom guidance in their annual school improvement plan. 13th, non-implementation or improper implementation of homeroom guidance shall be subject to existing applicable administrative actions. Okay. Let's now move on to our roles and responsibilities of DepEd offices. Okay, so to start, for schools, the school head supervises and monitors the implementation of homeroom guidance and ensures that proper intervention for each learner will be provided. The guidance counselor or guidance designate serves as the program manager and ensures the correct content and pedagogy of homeroom guidance in school. The guidance counselor or guidance designate must conduct the orientation and homeroom guidance at the beginning of the school year and hold quarterly meetings with section advisors before the implementation of the modules. As the need arises, the guidance counselor or guidance designate must be able to provide other guidance services or intervention without violating the provisions stipulated in the RA 9258 or the Guidance and Counseling Act of 2004. Class advisors serves as homeroom guidance implementer inside the classroom. So the class advisor refer the learner to the guidance counselor only if counseling intervention or other guidance services are needed, such as referral, consultation. More so, the class advisor collaborates with co-teachers and parents in developing the competencies of the learners at home. Together with the guidance counselor or advocate and parents, the class advisor shall identify and implement possible intervention for the progress of the learner. School Division Office. So, Curriculum Implementation Division through the ESP Supervisor in charge of Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao in coordination with School Governance and Operations Division through its designated guidance and counseling focal person serves as the division program manager. They also coordinate with the guidance counselor or guidance designate of schools. They ensure localization and indigenization of content and pedagogy and are expected to monitor the conduct of homeroom guidance. In the regional office, the Curriculum and Learning Management Division, or the CLMD, ESP Supervisor in coordination with Education Support Services Division, or the ESSD, through its designated guidance and counseling focal person, serves as the program manager in the region. Okay, so he or she coordinates with the school's division program manager to ensure that the conduct of homeroom guidance is in accordance with this policy. They are expected to submit an annual report on the conduct of homeroom guidance. In the central office, the Bureau of Curriculum Development serves as the program manager. The focal person serves the correct or ensures the correct curriculum articulation and consolidates annual report on the conduct of homeroom guidance. The Bureau of Learning Delivery ensures that appropriate pedagogical approaches are employed on how to deliver the curriculum content. The Bureau of Learning Resources ensures the availability of learning resources to the field units. On assessment of learners' development and monitoring of the program, though the intent of the homeroom guidance is to help learners develop competencies that will aid them in facing different issues and tasks, it is important to still track their level of development. Homeroom guidance implementers must always keep in mind that the program shall capacitate learners toward success. Hence, compared to the formal learning areas that are being measured following the DO number 8 series of 2015, homeroom guidance shall utilize Learners Development Assessment Tool, which you can also find in the Annex 3 of the DM 155, guided by the verbal descriptions. Okay. So here are the verbal descriptions. NI means needs improvement, or the learner has not acquired the target competencies. D stands for developing. The learner acquired some of the target competency. SD, or sufficiently developed. The learner acquired the target competency. And DC, developed and commendable. The learner acquired the target competency and showed commendable application in real-life situations. So the learner's development shall be assessed through their portfolio and performance task. Conduct of homeroom guidance is mandatory, but this is not part of the academic rating. Grades are just descriptive. So if the student will get needs improvement, what is the meaning of this? It shows that the student needs a certain intervention from school and home. In the event that the learner remains at the needs improvement at the end of each quarter, the advisor, guidance counselor, and parent need to work together to provide intervention. So disciplinary cases of learners must not affect their homeroom guidance grades. So here is the example of the homeroom guidance learners development assessment for school year 2020-2021. For each key stage, so for kindergarten, they have their own assessment tool. Here is the primary level or the grade 1 to grade 3 development assessment. For the intermediate level, for junior high school, and for senior high school. Success and sustainability of the program will only be ensured if there is a systematic and adequate monitoring and evaluation. Monitoring and evaluation shall be done from September 2020 to April 2021 or as scheduled by the department. Reports on the results of the monitoring and evaluation shall be submitted at the end of school year 2020-2021. The following are the offices and units which will implement, monitor, or will be affected by this policy. School level. The school head leads the monitoring in coordination with the guidance counselor or guidance designate or guidance advocate. School head ensures evaluation of the program. So here is Annex 1 or the homeroom guidance monitoring tool in school level. Okay, as you can see, there is a scale below. Okay, 0 means no chance to observe, 1 not observed, 2 observed but insufficient, 3 sufficiently observed, and 4 sufficiently observed and commendable. So say for example, item 1, make sure that the learning modality is conducive for learning and activities. Okay, so if this will be observed but not sufficient, the school head or the guidance counselor may check under number 2, okay? Observed but insufficient, okay? If there are cases that there's no chance to observe, then they will check 0, okay? So we understand that in this particular event, during pandemic, since we don't have face-to-face, there will be items or categories that will not be observed, or most of the answers will be 0. Okay, okay lang yun. We understand that because of this situation, and everything, your recommendations, the things that you will say about the conduct of the homeroom guidance based on this monitoring tool will be very much appreciated. Okay, so this is also our way of looking into the program and check if this is really helpful for the learners. Okay, so we'll have to really work hand in hand in order for us to achieve the goal of this particular program. Okay, so this is for the school level. And then for the schools division level, the Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao ESP supervisor in coordination with the guidance counselor designated in the division office leads the monitoring using the homeroom guidance monitoring tool. So a while ago, I showed you the school monitoring tool. Now we also have the SDO level monitoring tool or the homeroom guidance monitoring and evaluation tool. Okay, so here Hinati naman yung legend natin from evident, evident but inadequate, not evident, or not applicable. Okay? And again, we understand if there will be sections or categories na not applicable or not evident as of this event, no, during this pandemic. So we'll try to look into possibilities on how are we going to improve the content as well as the areas to be implemented for the homeroom guidance. Okay, so for the division level, the areas to be monitored are curriculum implementation and compliance, delivery process, evaluation of learners' development, supervision of homeroom guidance implementation, administrative concerns. Okay? And then, meron siyang summary sa likod. Makikita dyan saan yung mga evident. Hopefully, in the curriculum and implementation, maging evident naman siya. Baka meron lang tayong ilang pagkukulang o may mga kailangan tayong iayos pagdating sa delivery process for this year, no? But in the evaluation of learners' development, I hope yan din maging evident in most of our divisions. And the supervision of homeroom guidance implementation, I hope you also have that, no? Okay. So it has a page 3, which says, this certifies that the monitoring and evaluation results have been discussed with me. I understand that my signature does not necessarily indicate agreement, but acknowledge receipt of the report, and that I may respond to any and all issues contained in this evaluation. Written response must be submitted to the undersigned supervisor within 10 working days of date noted below. Okay? That's just for the monitoring and evaluation. Okay? That's for the schools division level. Next, in the regional level, the ESP supervisor in coordination with ESSD focal person for guidance and counseling leads the monitoring in the regional level, focusing on the entire implementation of the homeroom guidance. So for the school and division, they have the monitoring tool. Sa regional level naman, they do the consolidation. And we'll see ano kaya yung region na may pinaka magaling, pinaka maayos na implementation on homeroom guidance, at ano rin yung may pangangailangan pa to improve in the implementation of the homeroom guidance. Okay? Next, in the national level, the Bureau of Curriculum Development leads the overall monitoring and evaluation of the homeroom guidance. So the Bureau representative shall consolidate the annual regional report on the implementation of homeroom guidance and coordinate the results to other bureaus of the central office, that which may serve as reference for future enhancements of the program and related policies. Okay, so this policy shall take effect in school year 2020-2021. So we'll start ng August 24 until April, ayan, and succeeding years immediately upon publication in the DepEd website. Okay, here are our references. Okay. I will also give you some updates on homeroom guidance learning materials. So for quarter 1, okay, we have a total of 45 modules. For quarter 2, we have 42. For quarter 3, we have 40. Quarter 4, we have 37. A total of 164 modules. Okay? So, nandyan din yung distribution per domain. At makikita ninyo na ang pinakamarami o pinakamalaking domain ay ang personal social, which is 98. Okay? Yan naman kasi yung target natin for this school year, na mabigyan sila ng competencies talaga at makatutok ito sa personal social development domain. Okay? Yung academic and career ay pantay lang, pero iba-iba lang din yung dami nila sa bawat key stage or sa bawat grade level. Okay? So here is the number of modules per domain naman siya. Okay? And here, we have the homeroom guidance number of modules and estimated number of pages. Okay? So magtataka siguro kayo, bakit pagdating sa grade 11 and grade 12, konti yung kanilang homeroom guidance module? It's because nakafocus lang po sila sa personal social domain. Ang ating kindergarten hanggang grade 10 po, meron silang academic and career development domain. So for grade 11 and grade 12, they have a separate career guidance program. So mayroon din po tayong guidelines na ilalabas dyan at magiging focus naman nito is yung kanilang pagpe-prepare o paghahanda para sa ating mga curriculum exits, for curriculum exits. Okay? Okay, so with that, maraming salamat po and have a great day.
Okay, thank you so much to Madam Joanna Kristen Valdez, a registered guidance counselor all the way from the DepEd Central Office, Bureau of Curriculum Development and Bureau of Learning Delivery. Wow, that's quite a lot for us today again, because this is once again a regional orientation on policy guidelines and capability building on the implementation of the homeroom guidance during the crisis situation for the school year 2020-2021. This is really very timely for us to prepare, especially so that this is all about the implementation of the homeroom guidance, both of the public and the private schools nationwide. And specifically today, spearheaded by the no less than Dr. Maria Shello Estrada and Dr. George N. Wong, our education program supervisors in Region 11, spearheading this activity that we know the significance to identify how, when, and whom implementation will be assessed. Monitoring of the implementation of the policy guidelines will keep everyone involved and aware on any possible barriers, issues, and concerns that the Region 11, our education program supervisors, can properly address. We are really very responsible, not just only in the public institution, but to the private institutions as well. So this is it. This is all for us. This is really the most awaited day, because on October 5, 2020, we are all set, specifically on the public sector or the public institution. Comes October 5, kasang-kasa na po tayo, handang isip, handa bukas, sulong edukalidad for all of us. With, of course, as our Secretary of Education, Secretary Leonor Magtoles Briones, that education must always continue. Okay, so and as of this time, we also be reminded our attendance, Miss Lou Jane, once again, our attendance link. Okay, there on the screen right now. Do not forget to complete the details on the attendance link. And of course, our Padlet link, Lou Jane. Please flash now that on screen. Our Padlet link, Padlet to foster better discussion and prepare as well on our guidance orientation today. You have your queries, clarifications, verifications. You may post that one on our Padlet link. And of course, at this time, safety prevention protocols still best defense against COVID-19. We all face this crisis, but together we fight against the COVID-19, as the Department of Education emphasizes that the outlook of our pandemic response is highly dependent on our public's compliance to prescribed health protocols. So we must remain vigilant and practice the infection prevention and control measures such as, of course, physical distancing, proper hygiene, to at least or to the very help that we can extend to the community to help limit the spread of the virus. And that's really very important. We have the policy implementation guidelines. We have to practice as always and be very vigilant to have our safety first. And of course, we are very much pleased as we have our video today. Ms. Lu Jane, please present to the Region 11 participants in the public and private institutions the RRM, of course, the RRM logo, the RRM jingle on this safety protocol. Please roll VTR.
Laging handa. Laging handa. Bahatag tuyot sunog lindol bagyo. Mga kalamidad na likas sa ating mundo. Napapahamak ang buhay at kabuhayan. Kaya naman kailangan ngang paghandaan.
Maging handa, maging alerto. Tungkulin to ng bawat mamamayan. Kaya tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa. Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa. Laging handa.
Kalamidad ay maaasahang darating.
Sa di inaasahang oras.
Kaya naman hindi na dapat hintayin. Unahan na habang di pa natataranta.
Maging handa, maging alerto. Tungkulin to ng bawat mamamayan. Kaya tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa. Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa. Suriin mo mabuti ang iyong kapaligiran. Saan ka pa nakatira? Diyan ba ay bumabaha? Tuwing gamot, pagkain, kumot, pang sindi, first aid kit. Mga gamit panligtas ng buhay dapat mabitbit. At sakaling lumindol o sumabog ang dugat, meron bang matadaanan palayo sa kasawian? Panahon ay malupit at ang hangin hagupit. Mabuti na lang na tayo ay laging nakahanda. Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa. Tara na, kilos na, lika na, tumulong tayo. Gawin na po ang karapat-dapat na maging laging handa.
This message was brought to you by the Department of Education with the support of World Vision Development Foundation.
Panatilihing malinis ang ating katawan. Resistensya natin ay dapat palakasin. Sama-sama, tulong-tulong, ating labanan ng COVID-19. Kaya natin to, wag lang matakot. Kung sama-sama ay walang problema. Palagi ang maghugas ng mga kamay gamit ang sabon at malinis na tubig. Sama-sama, tulong-tulong, ating labanan ng COVID-19. Kaya natin to, wag lang matakot. Kung sama-sama ay walang problema. Sa may sakit, ika'y dumistansya para di ka mahawa. Kung uubo at babahing, bibig at ilong iyong takpan. Sama-sama, tulong-tulong, ating labanan ng COVID-19. Kaya natin to, wag lang matakot. Kung sama-sama ay walang problema. Labanan ng COVID, kaya natin to.
Para sa karagdagang impormasyon, pumunta sa doh.gov.ph o sundan ang official DOH Facebook page.
Okay, so we are back live and alive in our regional orientation on policy guidelines and capability building on the implementation of the homeroom guidance during the crisis situation for the school year 2020-2021. And of course, we also would like to acknowledge with us today from the Bureau of Curriculum Development, Mr. Mark Bercando, the Edukasyon sa Pagpapakatao Focal, and of course, Ms. Jonna Kristen Valdez, a registered guidance counselor from the Department of Education Central Office. Hello, Madam and Sir. Good morning. And thank you so much to Ma'am Jonna Kristen a while back. She was giving us with a very comprehensive and a detailed discussion all about on this procedure, assessment, monitoring, and evaluation of Ma'am Jonna Kristen Valdez, a registered guidance counselor, Department of Education, Central Office. Thank you so much, ma'am. And of course, at this time, with the, of course, with the given expertise that we have this morning on the intent of the orientation on the policy guidelines, develop the competencies that will aid us, that will support us in facing the different tasks. Important track in the level of development, especially so, capacitating our learners towards the plan of academic success. Not just only that, but of course in a social aspect, academic success of our learners. And that is really very important to all of us, the educators in Region 11. Okay, so this time, we also would like to have our next guest speaker. Wow, the moment has become practically interesting and engaging for all of us. We can just wait for have another speaker this morning for us to have this presentation of sample modules in the kindergarten, primary, junior high school, and the senior high school. Ladies and gentlemen, our Region 11 participants, both in the private and public institutions, Guidance Counselor 3 in Digos National High School, Division of Digos City, Ma'am Chona L. Lasib, Registered Guidance Counselor. So we have that one. And of course, we have in this afternoon, self-directed learning. We have from Melicare M. Carillo, another registered guidance counselor, Guidance Counselor 3, Tagum National Trade School, and of course, she is also at the same time a national writer. Wow, very competent she is. Madam Melicare M. Carillo, RGC. So those are our speakers, competent experts on the following topics this afternoon. Madam Melicare M. Carillo and Madam Chona L. Lasig. So, this is it for us, teachers, guidance counselors, guidance designates. Wow, this is also, of course, under with the Education Support Services Division, Chief Warlito E. Hua. Okay, this is it. So, class advisors, get ready for the opening of classes. You just have heard a while back with Ma'am Jonna Valdez, all the way from Department of Education Central Office, with the policy, guidelines, implementation on how we capacitate our learners on the academic success and the social aspect. So please watch it out. And of course, at this time, we will be reminded at the same time that to subscribe and like in our afternoon session, just visit, like and subscribe YouTube channel and the FB live page. And that is where we can have our afternoon's session. Thank you so much, of course, Ma'am Lou Jane, our IT director, and of course, Dr. Maria Shelo D. Estrada, Education Program Supervisor, and Dr. George N. Wong, another Education Program Supervisor. Okay, so wow, this is it. There is a special announcement because in my program today, I have with me a whole day discussion of our competent speakers. But then again, since we have so much remaining time this morning and we just can't afford to let you wait on this activity, we will be pursuing another expert speaker this morning. Okay, so Ma'am Lou Jane will be having first our self-directed learning. Okay, so wow. So we instead of having a whole day affair with you guys, wow, this is it. This is in one way or the other, we can have all the speakers in one just this morning. So instead of having us back this afternoon, subscribing again another YouTube live and FB live, we'll be having that all in one in a half day package. So how is that? I'm sure you will all like that because you still have your responsibilities and other designates to comply this afternoon. So, having that solved, we have our self-directed learning from the Guidance Counselor 3, Tagum National Trade School, Division of Tagum City. And at the same time, she is a national writer herself, Madam Melicare M. Carillo, Registered Guidance Counselor. Please take it away, madam.
Good day, everyone. So, I am here to present to you one of the most important element in the implementation of the homeroom guidance program, which is the self-directive learning. It is very important because our learners will learn to take their initiative with or without the help of others in diagnosing their needs and formulating their learning goals. And aside from it, in this topic, we will also discuss the underlying theory of self-directive learning. Another steps and process of self-directive learning is which includes assessing readiness to learn. That's the first one. The second one is setting learning goals. And the third one is engaging in the learning process. So that are the things that will be discussed in this topic. So without much further ado, we will welcome with a round of applause the Senior Education Program Specialist of the Bureau of Learning Delivery, Ma'am Carmencita A. Aguas.
Good morning, good afternoon. It's a privilege to be with you today. The most talk about learning modality in the new normal, the self-directed learning. I was tasked to discuss with you what is it all about and paano to sinasagawa. Ako po si Carmen Sita Aguas from the Bureau of Learning Delivery, Teaching and Learning Division. Isa po akong teacher and at the same time guidance counselor. So to begin with, I'd like to take points from the DMCI memo number 2020-00162. It is about the suggested strategies in implementing distance learning modalities for this current year. This is all in the context of what we are experiencing now. And it is also stipulated in DepEd Order number 001, series of 2020, entitled School Calendar and Activities for the School Year 2021. That schools and community learning centers under the supervision of the regional office and the schools division office are authorized to decide on the specific distance learning delivery model, or shall we say the modalities which is more appropriate to their context. And it is also specified that as much as possible, the primary learning resources that shall be used are the self-learning modules developed by the regions for the implementation of the alternative delivery modes, which I suppose the material which the homeroom guidance is appropriately for this particular modality. No? And to begin with, I'd like to share with you a definition of self-directed learning from Knowles. No? He said that self-directed learning describes a process in which individuals take the initiative. So, ibig sabihin, talagang nakikita na natin na may kusang palo na yung bata. With or without the help of others, he is able to do on his own. No? He is able to diagnose ano yung learning needs niya. He's able to formulate goals. And, of course, when we say self-directed learning, sabi nga ay the child is able to take the initiative, no? Identifying human and material resources for learning, choosing and implementing appropriate learning strategies. And, of course, the most important thing in the self-directed learning, according to Knowles, is evaluating learning outcomes. So, self-directed learning describes a process in which individuals take the initiative with or without the help of others in diagnosing their learning needs, formulating learning goals, identifying human material resources for learning, choosing and implementing appropriate learning strategies, and evaluating learning outcomes. So, with that, Boyatzi, American psychologist, together with Goldman, in 2002, may isa silang dinevelop. Okay, they formulated this theory on self-directed learning in which dito sa cycle na to, makikita natin what are the essential skills na dapat ay meron ng bata for him to be able to be successful in using the self-directed learning modalities. No? At sabi niya dyan, developing trusting relationship that help support and encourage in each step in the process. So ano ba the first circle is my ideal self. Naiintindihan ng bata kung ano yung pangarap ko sa sarili ko, sino ako, at ano ang aking idea kung ano ako at ano yung real self ko. And makikita dyan, ano yung gaps? Ano pa yung mga kailangan kong i-improve? Tignan kung paano ko ito mapagyayaman. And the third is, ano yung strength na meron ako na pwede ko siyang i-build, no? At paano ko siya mapagyayaman bilang estudyante or ako bilang guro, ano yung mga hakbang na maaari kong ibigay sa aking mga estudyante na madidevelop yung kanilang real self, kasabay yung kanilang ideal self. No? At with that, ay magkakaroon daw siya ng practicing new behavior, building neutral pathways to mastery. So, meron siyang binigay na 5 steps paano natin matulungan ang ating mag-aaral sa konteksto ng self-directed learning. Sabi ng theory ni Boyatsi, ay magagawa daw nating matulungan para ma-develop ang skill na ito sa ating mga estudyante if we have these steps, no? The first is discovery. Focus on the discovery. Anong meron siya? Ano yung gusto niyang maging, no? And then the second discovery is we have to differentiate the real self from the ideal self. What are my strengths and gaps? Considering the ideal and the real self. So, ang maganda po dito ay yung unang module ng homeroom guidance ay nag-focus sa ideal, I. No? And the third discovery ay, what is my learning agenda? How can I build on my strengths while reducing the gaps? No? If you are able to help the learners identified ano yung kailangan niyang i-improve, ay maganda na pag-proceed niya sa fourth discovery. This is the exploration parts, no? Ano yung actions na pwede kong i-take, no? And let me share with you processes, no? Paano nga ba natin isasagawa itong self-directed learning? So very important that we assess the learner's capacity to learn. No? Hindi kasi lahat ng learner may capacity na for self-directed. And we should also understand that not all parents are able to assist their kids. So kaya ito yung dilemma ng mga magulang natin. At bilang guidance counselor, bilang guidance designate in the school, ay kailangan po nating mag-intervene dun sa gap na yon. So the first one is we assess the readiness to learn. Ito pong step na to ay it involves students conducting evaluation. Ano ba yung meron yung bata ngayon? May internet ba siya? Meron ba siyang kung siya gagamit ng online o kung yung material ay print, marunong ba siyang magbasa? Meron bang gagabay sa kanya? Ano ba yung support na pwede mong ibigay bilang school at bilang guidance advocate or guidance designate? It involves evaluating past experiences with independent learning. Ano ba yung kapasidad ng batang ito nung siya grade 4? What is his or her capacity in terms of independent learning? So ang tip po dyan ay masasabi natin na self-directed learning ready ang bata kung siya ay autonomous na. Masipag ba siyang gumawa ng assignment nung face-to-face? Organisado ba siya? Nakakayanan ba niya yung self-discipline? Kasi sa self-directed materials, naroon yung mga specific minutes to work on a particular task. So, dapat makikita natin o maobserbahan natin sa kanya yung discipline siya. At the learner should be able to identify or communicate effectively and able to accept constructive feedback. Oo, kasi mag-feedback tayo every time na mag-submit ng learning materials ang bata sa atin. We have to provide feedback. Doon kasi nila malalaman kung tama ba yung ginawa nila or hindi. Then the second step is, of course, you set the goals between you and the students para maliwanag kung ano yung tatahakin yung inaasahan. Then, the third is the process of doing it. It's called engage in the learning process. Students need to understand themselves as learners in order to understand their needs as self-directed learning students. No? At syempre, para maging successful ang self-directed learning, they must be able to engage in self-reflection, self-evaluation of their learning goals, and progress in a unit of study. So sana po ay nagkaliwanagan tayo kung ano ang self-directed learning. So important that the child is already independent in terms of reading, comprehension, self-discipline, no? So, yun ang medyo challenge talaga sa atin bilang guidance designate na gagamit ng homeroom guidance materials. It is so important that we are able to see clearly the objectives and the tasks to be accomplished in each part of the module. Let me show you the parts. So, the first quarter module talks about I for the idea. So, di ba, sa self-directed, so important that you're able to identify the ideal self and the real self. So, the parts of the module should be very clear in the discussion. What are the objectives? So, objectives are stated. At the end of the module, you are expected to identify uniqueness from others, enumerate the changes as you age, and demonstrate positive and appropriate behavior in valuing yourself. Then, part of the module also, which is so important, is the time allotment. Diba, sabi natin, we set goals. So, by seeing the time allotment, learners will be able to set goals. Ay, paano ko pala titipakin itong module na to? Hahati-hatiin ko. And then, ano yung mga materials na kakailanganin ko? So, stated po dyan. Sa introduction, naka-state po ano yung meron natututunan ng bata for that particular task. No? Nakalagay din dyan, let's try this. In the let's try this is the actual activity na gagawain ng bata, na isasagawa niya. No? Nakalagay dito, paano niya isasagawa, ano ang laman ng mga activities na gagawin niya for that particular part. Then, matapos dyan, may processing questions na sasagutan ng bata doon sa batay sa mga nakaraan niyang ginawang activities sa let's try this. And then, possibly, this is a processing question. A learner may need assistance from the teacher. So, dito siguro ko connect si teacher or si advisor or si guidance designate para mapagyaman yung learning ng bata dito sa processing question. And then on the explore part, this is the most critical part because this is the application part wherein the learner will be able to apply the learning task, no? Makikita niya dito kung ano nga ba yung discovery niya sa kanyang sarili, no? And with this module, nakalagay dito ay for the explore part ay it's all about me activity. So dito na siya gagawa. Ito na yung kanyang application. At maaaring ito yung kanyang isasubmit kay teacher. Pinaka-final output niya. And with that, we commend the team of Ma'am Jonah for really working hard in crafting this particular materials on homeroom guidance. At nakakatuwa po dahil mula kinder hanggang grade 12, meron na tayong homeroom guidance most essential learning competencies. No? So, salamat po for the opportunity of joining with you this afternoon. I'd like to leave you with this quote, I never teach my pupils, I only provide conditions in which they can learn. So, hiniram ko po yan kay Albert Einstein. So, maraming salamat po. Kung kayo po ay may mga katanungan, ay maaari niyo pong isulat sa chat box at sasagutin po namin. Makaraan po ang lahat ng presentations this afternoon. Thank you very much. Carmen Aguas from the Bureau of Learning Delivery, Teaching and Learning Division.
Okay, thank you so much. And that's still coming from the DepEd Central Office, Ma'am Aguas, Bureau of Curriculum and Development, Bureau of Learning Delivery. Thank you all so much. And of course, that's all about the self-directed learning modules. The success and sustainability of the program will only be ensured if there is a systematic and adequate monitoring of our self-learning modules, distance learning delivery modalities, the alternative learning delivery modalities to empower our learners on basic education to pursue learning, and for our teachers to be able to provide instruction in a secure work and learning conditions amidst the threat of the global outbreak. True to our mission of ensuring that learning must continue. Thank you so much also, Madam Melicare M. Carillo, our registered guidance counselor of the Division of Tagum City, Tagum National Trade School, and of course, a national writer herself. Thank you so much, Madam. And of course, at this time, we move forward to our last speaker actually. Supposedly, it's going to be a whole day, but we are having it in a one or a half day at this time. So we are down to the last speaker herself, Madam Chona C. Lasib, a registered guidance counselor, Guidance Counselor 3, Digos National High School, Division of Digos City, on the presentation of sample modules on the kindergarten, primary, intermediate, junior high school, and the senior high school. So ladies and gentlemen, our last speaker, Madam Chona C. Lasib.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Shona Lasib, one of the validators of these homeroom guidance modules. Later will be the presentation of sample modules for kindergarten, primary, intermediate, junior high school, and senior high school. But before that, I will explain first the parts of the modules, which are the following. First is the lesson title, that is engaging to invite the learner's attention. Second part is Gabay sa Magulang, written or expressed in Tagalog, and the content is simple and clear, as short guide or reminder on the role of parents in these homeroom guidance modules. Third parts are the learning objectives that are anchored on specific and correct competency indicators. Fourth is the material to be used in the activity, materials that can easily be provided at home and by all schools, regardless of the geographical location. Fifth part is the time allotment, which is adequate for each activity and for the entire module. Sixth part is the motivation, which is stated as, let's try this, that invites learners' participation and it has processing questions. Next part is the main activity, which is stated as let's explore this. That is self-directed learning activity and it has processing questions. Next is the lecturate, which is stated as keep in mind, a brief discussion on the topic. The application part is stated as you can do it, which has clear and specific procedure that the learner can follow. The evaluation part is stated as what I have learned that is anchored on the objectives of the module. The reflection is stated as share your thoughts and feelings that focus on generating insights and realizations of the learners. And the last part is the assignment that are useful and complement the objectives of the modules. The module is based on the competency per level. And now will be the presentation of modules. For the kindergarten module will be presented by Ma'am Mayan Almodovar from Region 2. For primary module will be presented by Ma'am Isabelita Siraon of National Capital Region. Intermediate modules will be presented by Sir Carlo Puno. Junior high school modules will be presented by Ma'am Melanie Mandin of Region 11. And senior high school modules will be presented by Dr. Philip Punzalan.
Good day, everyone. I am Mayan C. Almodovar, kindergarten teacher from Region 2, Division of Isabela. I will be presenting the Homeroom Guidance Most Essential Learning Competency Modules for kindergarten. There are a total of 12 modules for kindergarten. For the first quarter, there are two modules, namely, Module 1, I Am Unique. Module 2, Family is Love. For the second quarter, there are four modules. Module 3 is Let's Make It Work. Module 4, Success, It Works. Module 5, My Role Model. Module 6, My Supermodel. For the third quarter, there are three modules, namely Module 7, You Are Safe. Module 8, Helping Hands. Module 9, When I Grow Up. And for the fourth quarter, there are three modules also. Module 10 is entitled Get Involved. Module 11, My Community, My Responsibility. And Module 12 is Reach for the Stars. Today, I will show you Quarter 1, Module 1, entitled I Am Unique. The objectives of the modules are as follows. First, identify the things and activities that you like and dislike. Second, draw the things that you like and dislike. And the third, relate oneself to any object or activity. For the motivation, let's try this. The activity was sentence completion, followed by the three processing questions, and we only limit three questions because we all know that kindergarten have a smaller attention span. And here are the three processing questions. First, what are the activities that you like to do or you like to eat and why? Second, what are the things you like to do or you do not like to eat and why? What will you do to become better at what you do or in your talent? For the main activity, let's explore this. The activity was selecting or encircling pictures followed by the three processing questions. Most of the activities, if you noticed, are all encircling, coloring, or by answering orally because pupils are not yet ready to read and write. The three processing questions here are, first, what other things would you like to learn? Second, who can help you to improve your skills or talent? Third, what do you like most about your talent or skills? This part, keep in mind, is the lecturette or the discussion part. The lecturette is as simple as that for the pupils to give the most important key understanding. For the application, you can do it. The activity was drawing and coloring the pictures, followed by the three processing questions. Again, the three processing questions are: first, do you know of someone who also likes doing these activities? How do you feel about it? Second, do you know of someone who doesn't like doing these activities? How do you feel about it? And the last, why do you like to do these things or activities? For the evaluation, what I have learned. The activity was to answer the questions orally. Kindergarten pupils love to make kwentuhan moments. They like to share their personal experiences. This is also the time for the teacher to know more about them. This is the part on which we can assess if something was learned or if we need to make some remediation lesson. Last part of the module is the reflection. Share your thoughts and feelings. The activity was drawing and coloring the pictures or cut out pictures followed by the processing questions. And what are these processing questions? First, how do you feel about the image you choose? Second, to whom you like to share it with? Third, what other activities or experiences you may want to add in your notebook in the future? And the last is, whom do you like to be within these activities? That's a run through of the module. Thank you for listening and God bless us all.
Magandang hapon, naabigyan na rin. Marahay na hapon, buenas tardes, maayo nga hapon, mayap anapun, naimbag nga malam. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Isabelita I. Seraon from the National Capital Region, Schools Division of Quezon City, Masambong Elementary School. I am representing the primary level, and I will be sharing with you a sample module for our grade 1 learners. What you see on your screen is a table of contents consisting all the grade 1 modules with competencies identified in the notes. We actually have 11 modules from first to fourth quarter. And specifically, I'll be sharing with you Module 1 of the first quarter period, and this is entitled, See How I Have Grown. Based on the most essential learning competencies that talks about recognizing the basic rights and responsibilities of a child and identifying personal strengths, weaknesses, abilities, interests, and values, the following objectives for this module were formulated. One is to identify your likes, dislikes, talents, and interests, and your basic rights as a child. Two, identify your tasks at home and in school as a child. Three, demonstrate willingness to follow direction. And four, show appreciation of yourself and others. Since we are on the primary level with the same competencies with grades 2 and 3, when you get to see the modules by then, you will see that the activities are interconnected, developmental, and are outcome-based. Okay, so are you ready to get a walkthrough on the module? So this is the first part, which is motivation, or we have entitled it, Let's Try This. It specifically answers the objectives 1, 2, and 3. Here, the learner will be asked to take a look at the pictures carefully. So can you see that on your screen? And then with the help of the parent or an adult, the learner will be asked of the changes noticed in his or her body when she or he was still young or as a baby, and now that he or she had grown up to be a child. So you can see that in the two pictures presented in the slide. Well, we could expect answers like he or she grew bigger and taller. And so from there, the learner, again, with the help of the parent or an adult, will be asked to complete the statements. And I have provided you with 3 samples of those statements to complete. And this is followed by the processing questions. As you can see, no, these are related to how the learner noticed himself or herself growing and how he or she feels about the changes as he or she grows up. Actually, this motivation part is important because it teaches the learner to become aware of and process the changes that is happening within himself or herself, and precisely to help discover capabilities and some age appropriate rights to claim and hold as he or she grows up. Okay, so moving on to the main activity, or what we have entitled Let's Explore This. The learner, again, will get to see different illustrations about the basic rights of the child. With the help of the parent or an adult, they may ask the learner to interpret what the learner sees on the picture, and from there, they can further discuss the captions. I have provided 4 samples of basic rights in this slide, but if you notice, we have not used the term rights yet. It is because they may not be able to understand it yet. So instead, we make use of the pronoun I followed by a verb that constitutes their right and in which would be easier for them to relate and identify themselves with. Uh, it is in the processing questions, again, that we ask them if they have those in the pictures, if they experience it, if they exercise it, how they feel about having those that are mentioned. And of course, it is also important to know that even during this quarantine period, can they still have, hold, and enjoy those mentioned in the pictures? So how has this part become an important piece of a puzzle that harmonizes with the whole module? Well, basically, it directs the learner to see that the above mentioned pictures and statements are actually his or her basic rights as a child. And these are first claimed and enjoyed in the beginning of his or her life. So moving on to the next slide, this is the keep in mind or the lecturette, the discussion part. So this one, in this part, the discussions will be the learner now noticing different changes in his or her body, becoming taller, heavier, and hair grows longer, and so on. Also, in this part, talks about how the learner gets to know more about himself or herself and discovering talents like singing, dancing, reading, writing, coloring, and many others. This lecturette will also make them understand that as they grow older, they are expected of simple tasks at home and in school to do and deliver, which will definitely help them become a more responsible child. It is in this part also that we introduce the concept of what is right and the 4 thematic focus of their rights as a child. To elaborate, we have defined rights as entitlement, which everyone, including the children, should claim and hold. While the 4 thematic focus of their rights as a child are First is the survival rights. These talk about right to live and the right to have a better quality and improved way of life. Next is the development rights, specifically the right to education, being active learners, and have a well-nourished, healthy lives. Third is the protection rights, being protected from harm and conflict, being safe and free from violence, abuse, neglect, and exploitation. And the last is fourth one, participation rights. The right to be heard, the right to play, to actively participate in decision-making processes that affects their lives according to their evolving capacities. So, okay, here, you can do it, or the application part. Um, it emphasizes the ability of the learner to perform and apply what he or she has learned from the previous activities in the module. The parent and the learner will agree on a simple task that the learner will do for a specific week. It is then the parent's duty to check and monitor if the tasks are being performed. If you notice in our slide, we suggest that the task is repetitive from Monday to Friday, just like in our example, home tasks and school-related tasks. They are all the same from Monday to Friday. It's because we are trying to form a habit for the learner to somehow master and get familiarized with the task which they will later on do independently or with very little assistance from an adult. This will also serve as a validation of how effective the motivation part and so the other parts of the module activities in the module to be able to engage the learner even from the beginning of the learning process and later on translate it into real life practices, just like what we do in this application part. Okay. What I have learned or the evaluation. Since two of the most important highlights of this module is on learners' rights and responsibilities, we will now evaluate if the learner can differentiate the two. As mentioned in our objectives, we expect the learners to identify their tasks or responsibilities as well as know their basic rights as a child. I have provided you 3 samples on your screen, and with the help of the parent or an adult, the learner will either draw a star or a heart to correspond with the statement on tasks and rights. Okay, so share your thoughts and feelings or the reflection, making it relevant now being the last part of the module. This reflection part will elicit the learner's point of view on the topic discussed, while an element of personal touch also factors in. As shown on your screen, after having traced their left and right hands, there are statements that needs to be completed, and it that will teach the learner to affirm himself or herself after having gone through all the modules, activities, and having learned of his or her small contributions by performing age-appropriate tasks while enjoying entitlements such as basic child's rights. On the final note, the learners, after going through this 2-week module lesson, is expected or are expected to have awareness and understanding of their rights, which will empower them to claim and hold on those alongside with the development of their talents, interests, and capacity to perform simple tasks and responsibilities. And that ends my presentation. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carlo Puno, the focal person of the Grade 5 Writers. It is a pleasure to walk you through the Homeroom Guidance Module 1 first quarter. So before anything else, here's the table of contents exhibiting the titles and number of modules per quarter. So we have 3 modules for the first quarter, same with the second quarter. Third quarter, we have 4 modules and 3 modules for the fourth quarter. Okay, so welcome to the first module of the first quarter entitled I is for Ideal. So the title embodies the general aim of the module, which is for the learner to accept his uniqueness and the changes in him. So the objectives point out to the concept that whoever the child is the best makeup he could be. So confidence in himself is built with the feeling of competence and thereby successful overcoming the inferiority versus industry conflict at his stage. So this, to specify, at the end of the module, the learners are expected to, number one, identify one's uniqueness from the others. Number two, enumerate the changes as one age. And number three, demonstrate positive and appropriate behavior in valuing oneself. So this module is for the first and second week of the first quarter. The estimated amount of time for each activity is provided in the module, and with a total number of minutes of 120 minutes is allotted for this specific module. So the materials needed are ball pen and pencil and clean sheets of paper for the purpose of submission. So before we go to the first activity, the learner and the parents or guardian are provided with an overview of the week 1 in the introduction part, which introduce the self-awareness and how it affects them holistically. So furthermore, it also mentions the succeeding activities required, which require the presence of the and participation of family members or significant others, which is elaborated in the Gabay sa Magulang page. So the first activity, which is the motivation part, addresses the first objective. So it guides the learner to identify his uniqueness from the others by looking into some facets together with one of the members of his family or significant others. So the learner and a chosen family member or significant others individually list down their likes, interests, talents, skills, and values. Then it is followed by the discussion of their answers using the processing questions. As they exchange responses, the learner realizes that he is one of a kind, setting some of his aspects apart from the others. Okay, so for the main activity uh, uh, of this module, so the learner discovers further his individuality, likewise serve as a pre-diagnostic tool for the teacher to spot if what the learner holds are appropriate for his stage. While the last part of this activity also addresses the second objective as he enumerates the changes he experienced or observes as he ages. No? From seeing one's self exceptionally through others, the learner this time explores and focuses more on his interests, beliefs, actions, and feelings. So to do this, he must complete the given phrases based on the different features presented in every box. So the activity includes a template. No, this create a good picture of the learner, and at the same time a great opportunity for the teacher naman to check on the well-being of the learner. So in the box, which entitled "What's New," it is included in the module. The learner states and recognizes the new things he has experienced, than at the present. Among these things may be those that make him proud and confident that would lead to a positive self-concept. Then similarly, process questions strengthen the effectiveness of the activity to the learner. Okay. For the next activity, which is the lecturette, the lecturette aims to make the child understand the concept of self-awareness, uniqueness, changes, and positive behavior on valuing oneself by discussing these concepts and relating them to the previous activity. So this explicitly illustrate through the table included in the module how changes occur and how to counteract them through personal and online. So it was also provided in the module uh, how to present oneself or themselves in personal and online matters. Moreover, the discussion validates that whatever reaction or adjustment they make is normal and a phase to be surpassed that will contribute to their behavior. Then for the next activity, which is the application, after the learner understands that he's unique and special with some changes in his body, like yung, feelings, actions, and beliefs, he also came to know that there are appropriate behaviors or actions to do in valuing oneself. Furthermore, the application part of this module is linked to the third objective. After the learner has thoroughly examined himself, it is time to move forward and improve himself by filling in the blanks with three appropriate actions as an application of his learning to complete the pledge of commitment. So we have template as well included in the module in this specific activity. So then he must find a good place where can freely and comfortably whisper state the line while hugging himself with eyes closed. No, this is done twice, and the second time with fervent emotions and conviction. Katulad po ng picture na nakikita nyo ngayon. Okay. So of course, to ensure the journey in accomplishing the module, module and retains and influences the learner, an evaluation at the same time, synthesis is set. So this attempts to draw an understanding of one's uniqueness and changes from the learner, along with the requirement to execute one of the planned appropriate actions to take. So the learner will fill out the blanks of the table with unique things about me. And because I value myself, it will be nice. So those are the titles provided in the columns. Examples are provided as well for the learner's understanding of the task. And lastly, the final part of the module reinforces the learning acquired by the learner through answering the questions creatively. So he may write his answer on how he is different from the others or from others, the positive input of studying to his behavior, and examples on suitable personal and online behavior. So that's it. No, that's the first module for the first module for grade 5 learners. So the entire guidance team is very pleased to be part of this humbling experience to guide our learners, especially in this new normal. So knowing that despite the unfortunate events, we can still be there for them by providing these modules. So once again, thank you and God bless to all.
Good afternoon, everyone. So we are now in junior high school level, particularly in grade 9. So we, as educators, guidance counselors, and guidance advocates, truly experiencing huge change and uncertainty at the moment. However, the importance of education remains consistent. That's why we're having these homeroom guidance modules to help our learners understand and still have that thought to continue striving to reach their beautiful tomorrow through our education. So in grade 9, we have this 20 modules from first quarter to fourth quarter with several number of sessions and time. Okay, so let me share to you and try to taste the relish of our module 1, which is entitled My Study Habits version 4.0. Despite this pandemic, we encourage earnestly our learners to continue gaining their knowledge and acquire skills, perhaps in this unconventional method and environment, but what matters most, they are all learning. The module will help them see the significant connection with their learning style and their study habits. So through the different activities, our learners will be able to know the level of their study skills and even can cite ways on how to strengthen effective study habits, which will serve as their guide to constantly improve their academic performance. So it is expected that at the end of the session, all of our learners will be able to explain how one's learning style affects study habits, assess one's study skills needed in effective facilitation of learning, and could be able to cite ways on how to strengthen effective study habits. So this module is good for 60 minutes. All right. So here we go to the motivational activity. This is entitled, Isipin mo, iguhit mo, magagawa mo. So using a bond paper and other coloring materials, they are encouraged to think one activity that they wanted to do. So here, they will motivate on how they can translate their thoughts and ideas into drawing. So this activity will let them realize how easy or difficult for them to translate. However, this will also be a window for them to be curious and to know more on what are the strategies and styles of learning. Okay, so next is the main activity. This is entitled Rank Your Senses. So here, our learners will have to analyze themselves in terms of the senses that they usually use to learn. They have to rank in a scale of 1 to 5. So 1 is the lowest and 5 is the highest. They have to rank their most used senses during learning sessions. After this activity, learners will know what senses they use to during learning session. So the result of this activity will be the springboard to the lecturate that explains more on the 7 different styles of learning or learners and the 3 main learning styles that most of them have the combination of it. They can say that they have a preferred method of processing information, but each type of learner has a dominant learning style. This speaks to the understanding that every learner learns differently. Technically, an individual learning style refers to preferential way in which the learner absorbs, processes, comprehends, and retains information. So during this pandemic situation, the common ways of teaching and learning could not be realized due to safety protocols that we have to observe. While one learner will always have a preferred learning style from others, knowing and learning the different learning styles and being able to apply them in appropriate situations will help the learner to adjust as we approach the new normal. So as they perform self-directed learning in the midst of this pandemic, with limited guidance from their teachers, parents, or guardians, this will be the best time for them to know what kind of learner they are and what learning style they prefer. They have to understand that their learning style should also match their study habit so they can continue to create an effective learning environment for themselves. Mainly since they will be learning from home for now. Okay, so if they know their preferred learning styles, they will also know strategies to incorporate in their study habits. So there are 11 good study habits that we'll introduce to them with helpful methods that they can use, especially in this time of pandemic. to introduce their learning style, develop a good study routine, and start achieving their educational goals, even if they are learning from home. Okay, so let's proceed to the application part. This will help our learners learn a better understanding of themselves as a learner. So it is a helpful way to identify the study skills they can use. All they need to do is to determine carefully if they have the study skills that they need a boost. But they have to understand too that it is always beneficial to constantly improve their study skills. So this informal inventory is just a short and quick tool for assessing their study skills. This is not a test, therefore, they are free to ask assistance from their parents or guardians. They just follow the directions given in the module on how to answer, do the scoring, and understand the interpretation of the results. All right? So next is the evaluation part. Learners will be able to understand here why they need to assess the study habit, and they could also cite ways on how to maintain or strengthen effective study routine. So the results connote positive implication of learning from the session. Okay, so let's proceed to the reflection part. This is sharing of or share your thoughts and feelings. So learners will be asked on what are the things they learned about themselves after doing the study skill questionnaire. So this will be the total package or output that help our learners internalize, realize that knowing more about themselves as a learner will also be an effective key for an effective study habits, which lead their way to a huge window of success. Okay, so there is also additional activity that given to them that will help them to contextualize their target goal, helping them to maintain their study habits version 4.0. All right, so that ends our module. Hope you conceptualize something out from it and encourage you more to continue doing our mission, embracing one of our principles that every individual is important to the whole world. Thank you so much and God bless.
Good morning, participants, delegates, guidance counselor, guidance designates all over the country. We are very proud to present to you the collaborative effort shared by the writers, illustrators, and also contributors to come up with the grade 12 homeroom guidance module. I am Dr. Philip Ramer Punzalan, one of the curriculum module writers of this module. Let me present to you the content of the slide desk. Here we go. The homeroom guidance module of grade 12. The table of contents composed of the following 4 quarters. For the first quarter, it will be presented later. Module 1 entitled Self-Analysis, a Step to My Improvement. Module 2, Accepting Others' Individuality. Module 3, Recognizing My Limitations. Second quarter, Module 4, Decisive Person. Module 5, The Decision is from Me, My Experience. For the third quarter, we have the Module 6, I Am Safe. Module 7, Live Positively. Fourth quarter, Module 8, Preserve, Promote, and Protect. For our Module 1, Quarter 1, it composed of objectives. For number 1, identify one's strengths and weaknesses and their role on personal development. Show ways to enhance strengths and weaknesses. on different aspects of personality: physical, physiological, mental, spiritual, social, moral, and emotional, and express commitment in valuing oneself. It covered the time allotment of 60 minutes as for week 1 of first quarter. The following will be the materials: ball pen, pencil, clean sheet of paper. For our motivation, the learner is encouraged to assume scenario in facing the front of a mirror and acts out emotional reactions on the different situation or aspect of personality through observation and evaluation. This entitled mirroring therapy, whereas the grade 12 learners able to analyze the current situation, connecting the past, present, and to the future. This will be the processing questions. How did you feel about the activity? What is easy or difficult and why? Were you able to mirror emotional reactions you had towards the different scenarios in your life and aspect of your personality? How? And what are the weaknesses and strengths that you have identified or discovered? For our main activity, the learner is tasked to accomplish the personal development action plan by copying the personal development template below on the answer sheet and write responses to each column: the personal goal, behaviors, specifically the column want to stop, minimize, keep doing, do more, and start with. This will be the processing questions. How did you find this activity? How did you manage easily your goals, considering the 5 steps stated in every column? By following through with this personal goal development worksheet and implementing this in your current situation, how did you think it will impact your life, particularly in the midst of COVID pandemic? So this will help the participants or our learner to able to expound their goal planning setting for them to have an initiation to move along on the progress of their adjustment. For the lecturette, the discussion will help the learner understand the grade 12 senior high school must have an awareness on the different aspects of development. It is recommended to set balanced life through their physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual aspects. It was integrated to Erik Erikson's psychosocial theory of personal development. So definitely, the lecturette is very important to come up with the particular subtopics and its content aligned to the objectives that we have. For the balanced person, they should develop an active role by interpreting the expectations of the social actors from the home and work domains from the institution, wherein able to manage the particular aspect of one's life, the physical, responsibility for your physical health and self-care. Mental, maintain mental habits including coping resilience and good judgment. Emotional, increasing ability to perceive, assess, and manage emotions. For the social, sense of self in relating with others through Erik Erikson's psychosocial theory. And for the last one, spiritual activities engagement as part of a balanced person, which will entail the sense of awareness for the grade 12 to become ready in forwarding themselves to self-improvement. And for our application, the learner is tasked to write a poem of at least 4 lines about personal insights on how to value oneself. It will be shared to the family at home or share it with friends in the social media sites. So definitely, it will able to help and engage the learner to, to craft a particular point of view through the form created by themselves. Okay? And for our evaluation, the learner will make their own pledge of commitment, stating that despite of many challenges facing now, is still able to manage life with courage and determination. This is very important. They are going to write it on how to be able to do a particular aspect to continue what they have started. And the last, the learner reflection is directed to share and write insights they have learned by filling out the graphic organizer below. My 3 big steps in achieving personal development. On the ladder and achieving it. On the last part, this will serve as the totality of gained knowledge of our Module 1, self-analysis, a step to my improvement. Thank you so much and God bless.
Okay, thank you so much to our speakers today on the presentation of the modules in kindergarten, primary, intermediate, junior high school, and our senior high school department. Thank you, Madam Chona Silasib, a registered guidance counselor 3 of Digos National High School, Division of Digos City. And of course, at this time, this is the most awaited as the chief of Learning Curriculum Management Division is also with us. And we also would like to thank our education program supervisors, Dr. Maria Shallow Strada and Dr. George N. Wong, who will take an initiative that is totally open for discussions today. The needs of all the contributions that each of you can make in terms of knowledge, expertise, information on this matter. So please feel free to share with us your views, insights that you may have. We need to learn from you as much, if not more, as what you can learn from us. So this is it. So we are calling live on screen Dr. Maria Shallow Strada, Dr. George Wong, and the rest of the speakers today. We also have Madam Melanie O. Mandin. We also have Madam Melicare M. Carillo and Madam Chona Lassi. Okay. So
Hello.
good morning, Dr. Strada.
Hello. Good morning.
Dr. George N. Wong, our education program supervisor, of course, here in Region 11. And we have Ma'am Melanie O. Mandin. Okay, so this is an open forum, Dr. Strada. So from the Padlet, we can have our queries, clarifications, verifications. This is, in a way or the other, an innovative solution for us to have or address the issues and concerns that we have from the Region 11, both in the private and public institutions. Okay,
Yes.
so we have now the first question, ma'am. So this is it. So are we going to include that homeroom guidance in the curriculum this school year? Do we have available modules for this? How can a private school get a copy of the modules?
Yes, good morning. Thank you for the question. The question is whether or not the homeroom guidance program will be part of the implementation come October 5, 2020. Am I correct, Ava? Tama ba?
Yes, madam.
Okay.
Yes,
So
madam.
the answer is a resounding yes. That is why we're having this early prior to the opening of the class on October 5 because we need to see to it that all our ESP coordinators, our SDO guidance counselors, our school guidance counselors, our class advisors who are with us today, I believe, and then the school principals will be able to implement this program starting October 5, 2020. So how will they be able to get the modules? The modules will soon be posted. Or Melanie, there are modules posted in the Guidance Philippines, right? But
Yes,
the
ma'am.
Region Homeroom Guidance family will be creating in a little later uh, a page where we are going to upload and share all the learning materials which may be utilized by our private and public schools because this is for the good of our Filipino learners, not just for the good of our public school learners. This will apply to all schools, public and private. So everything that every materials or all the materials that we have will be shared also the private and the public schools or the private institutions. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Strada. You just heard it right. Resounding yes. And there's a link, of course, from Ma'am Melanie Mandin that you can share and upload the copy of the modules. Thank you, ma'am. And of course,
Yes,
we have now
ma'am.
our second question. Since it was said that this is a mandatory and this is equivalent to one teaching load, how do we do this homeroom guidance considering the module learning? Since it was said that this is mandatory and this is equivalent to one teaching load, how do we do this in homeroom guidance considering the modular learning?
Okay, so as you have noticed, there was that one speaker in the presentation a while ago, which provided a sample as to in what particular time will you be will you be uh, placing the 1 hour period within the week as required under the homeroom guidance program. So it will now be between the collaboration of the teacher advisor or the school guidance counselors with the support of the ESP coordinators or ESP supervisors and designate to plan for this in order for them to effectively implement the required 1 hour period for every week for the homeroom guidance program. Lan, do you have something to add? Melanie?
Yes, ma'am. Well said po. Tama po, ma'am. Okay na po yun.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Of course, our education program supervisor, Dr. Maria Shelobi Estrada, together with an education program specialist too, Madam Melanie Omandin. Okay, so we are now moving to the third question. For the time allocation of 60 minutes for homeroom guidance per week, can we split the time, for example, 30 minutes on Tuesday and 30 minutes on Thursday to avoid conflict with the other subject areas?
Yes, Melanie, you may answer that question.
Yes po, ma'am. Of course, we can actually make some strategies no, on how are we going to do to complete or to make the modules talaga na done. So, it depends upon and then as long as kumpleto na po yung module natin because that one module is equivalent to 60 minutes, good for 1 week. So, depende na lang po yun sa mga strategies natin po. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially that
So
we
you
are
just
especially that we are not in a face-to-face modality. So we really are allowed to modify depending on the comfort of our learners and of the teachers. Basta, we need to comply with the mandatory 60-minute period within the week. Okay?
okay. Yes, thank you, Dr. Strada. So, next question. Classes are about to start. When can we be provided with the necessary materials to implement the program?
Melanie, when can we get the materials? Can we download it readily from the tawag nito, yung sa homeroom guidance
Portal po.
means? Yeah, sa
Yes, ma'am.
portal, yeah.
Actually, you can download po our modules already available na po sa LRMS portal po natin. So all we need to do, just ask our in-charge po sa mga division offices natin. And
Good.
then if not, we can also visit our FB page sa Homeroom Guidance Philippines po. There, you will be guided on how are you going to download our available modules. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. That answers both the private and the public institutions where they can have this implementation of the program. And it's really very important since the fact that October 5, 2020 is the opening of classes. Okay, so next question. Do the homeroom guidance assessment results replace the learner's observed values in the student's report card?
The result or yung grade, there is no particular grade, right? In as far as the homeroom guidance program is concerned, it will not be reflected in the report card. Am I correct, Melanie? it is not graded, rather it is not graded, and it will not affect, as mentioned in by one of the speakers kanina, it will not affect the academic standing of the learner. We cannot hear you, Abs. Para naka-off ang microphone mo, Abs. Okay.
Okay, so that's the question 5, the answer of Dr. Strada when it comes to the report card. So we still have, I think, the last question from Binsat, Division of Davao City of Mr. Daniel Morales. Sa skill training na hands-on, ano po ang approach dito considering the no face-to-face policy?
Okay. It seems that I already have given my answer kanina sa Padlet, or sa dito sa natin. I would like to verify kung ano particular yung hands-on skill na ibig niya sabihin. Kasi Bensat is an agriculture ba? Or parang baka welding yan siya, which is not part of the tawag nito, the homeroom guidance program. So if it is the case, parang it will be the TLE coordinator in your division or in the regional office who can accurately answer that as to how he is going to do it, especially pag hindi siya related sa homeroom guidance. Duda ko kasi, I am just apprehensive. Baka kasi welding yung sinasabi niyang skill talaga, yung ganyan. But in that case, ay parang pwede naman, just like what the private schools are doing, na pwede naman mag-show ang teacher ng sample sa video if available yung video or available yung may online communication sila na hindi kasi pwede mag face to face. So, pwede naman mag-present yung teacher on how he is doing it through the video, and then pwede naman mag-simulate yung student through the video din, parang ganon. But in cases only where the signal is good or the connectivity is good, tapos may gadget yung teacher at the same time yung student. Applicable naman yan siya sa lahat ng learning areas. Ganun naman talaga ang ginagawa. Just like the MAPE classes in private schools. Yung mga private schools kasi ngayon, meron na silang ginagawang classes. So, just like for example, yung anak ko, pinagawa sila ng dribbling of bola, nagvi-video lang sila. So parang ganun din siguro yung gagawin when it comes to learning the skill, especially that we are not doing the face-to-face engagement.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Strada. Okay, may pahabol pa po. Wow, this is really practical and exciting at this time. This is also equally important question. So question 7, thank you so much, Ma'am Rofelia de Mesa, who is assisting me right now for the question and answer. So question 7, on monitoring tool po, is it in the form of interview na lang ba ang pagsagot nito o ipadala ito sa parents?
Lan, you may answer that question. Yung monitoring tool, is there ba a particular tool for the parents?
Actually, ma'am, with regards to the monitoring tool, that is answerable po.
Through
That
online?
monitoring tool po. May po kasi siya. Pwede po tayo makagawa online. Pwede rin po nating i-print po siya. Pwede po, ma'am.
That modality in schools na pinipick up ng parents or dinidistribute ng teachers yung mga materials to be answered. So that can be attached or enclosed in those materials that will be delivered to the parents or to the teachers, to the learners, right?
Yes po, ma'am. Pwede po.
So pwede din online pag available yung connectivity ng we can also do that, right?
Yes po.
Okay.
Okay, so that ends our open forum. Wow. Okay, at least the Region 11 participants, guidance counselors, class advisors, and our teachers have the kind of idea through the questions that had addressed a few minutes back with Dr. Strada and of course, Madam Melanie Mandin. Thank you so much, Madam. So I think there are no questions of this time. So we can have, of course, Ma'am Shelo, nandito po ang ating chief ng CLMD and the entire Region 11.
So she'll be with us?
Yes, ma'am. She will have her closing message to all
Yes.
of us on this
Thank you.
regional orientation
Okay.
policy guidelines. Good
Hey,
morning, Chief Janet G. Velosa.
thank
Yes,
you.
yes, congratulations, Shello, for facilitating and managing the train or orientation despite the short notice and some of the short preparation. However, it was really a good chance for all of us to meet all our public and private implementers to ensure that the policy is well taken and understood by all our key players in the field. Now, I understood that this morning you have started earlier or started right according to our matrix. And sad to note that our top management went to the simulation for the opening of classes, recorded footages, and some let's say chiefs of the functional divisions are assigned also for the radio hopping for the opening of classes, and of course the celebration of World Teachers Day. So all these things that you have learned today, our public and private implementers, these are not actually new to you because sometime in year 2000, I believe, or earlier than that, the policy pertaining to homeroom guidance had been rolled out already to the field. And in fact, there was a time that ito ay uh, uh, binigay talaga sa secondary high school. Now, it's unique now because it's time for us to really ensure na both elementary and up to senior high school are aware of this. And so this will help our learners in time of this pandemic. And so the intention of the program is not for us to be stressed. Now it's another challenge for us to take on, but it's something, a gift for our learners to be able to develop themselves and be aware of the call of time. And not only that, that they will be aware because the self-awareness that they will have will become also their scaffolding mechanism to become resilient and at the same time understand the kind of brave world that they have. So the world that they are now facing is not something that they should be discouraged, but they should be more aware and be proactive. This time, it will be through your management of this program that will help them be able to have that skill. And so I know that the three pillars that were discussed to you a while back, all the details of the policy pertaining to your how do we treat on this, will this be another subject or will this be um, taught in 1 hour or 2 hours, all these things that you have learned a while back will be enlivened in the kind of proper implementation that you will have. So I am very blessed to have our resource persons coming from the field who were tapped by our regional team. We have Ma'am Shelo Isada, and we have also George Wong, and we have our counterpart in the field, especially from the division offices, and to Ma'am Mandin, who is part of the national team in the training. And so it's good for our region because our people, even though this is already in the offing of the opening of classes, but it's not yet too late for us to really come and be able to at least know deeper as to this policy. So thank you very much to everyone who participated, and also those who have shared their time to make this orientation a success. So God bless everyone.
Okay, so that's our chief of the Curriculum and Learning Management Division herself, the very brilliant chief and soon to be
Salamat
the ASDS.
time, salamat big time.
Okay, thank you so much, Chief Janet G. Veloso of the Curriculum and Learning Management Division, Region 11. Thank you so much, Chief. Always brilliant. The chief that we have right here and soon to be the ASDS of the Division of Davao del Sur. Thank you so much. So do we
Um,
have, yes, Chief? Doc Estrada, would you like to have this message or?
I believe Ma'am Jan have done so okay na ako. That's okay. I just would like to thank Ma'am Jan for making it with us despite nawala sila kanina, but I know that their heart and their spirit were with us because this activity is a very much opening of classes relevant activity. So I know that they were also on a radio station. Nakita ko kayo na sa picture nila. Meron silang ginawang interview. Nagiging Corina Sanchez or Karen Davila sila kanina. So we all are in this together. Yung effective opening or successful opening of classes. So everybody should be working together. Everybody should be working hand in hand in order for us to achieve our goal of opening this school year 2020-2021 successfully. So thank you very much to all of you. Thank you, Ma'am Jan. Thank you,
okay. Thank you,
RD.
Tia, for the very start of the program that you have been taking into consideration all these things and with all the coordination in the field so very quick, and that's really great and that's promising for you to handle the program successfully. Great job.
Thanks for the trust.
Wow, this is really a very great avenue for us, especially so that this is big words, policy, implementation on those guidelines. So this is our pillar, our strong foundation that we are all from both in the public and private institutions. Okay, so thank you so much, of course, to our 2,990 viewers in the entire region 11. Ang dami po, wow. And of course, at this time, a healthy mindset is always important. And this is why we always take this opportunity to thank our teachers for their devotion and contribution who rectify minds of our learners and prepare them with love and care. It is an honor to greet our teachers at the same time. Happy
Yes.
Teachers Month celebration.
Thank
Yes, happy Teachers Day.
you, Ava. Thank you, Lujin. Salamat kaayo sa tanan.
Yes, indeed, Madam. We are truly proud to share with you with another accomplishment on the policy guidelines, implementation of the Department of Education, and of course, with our guidance counselors, guidance designates together, let us face the challenges of the new normal with the virtues of the old normal with fortitude, conviction, brilliant experience, and discoveries. Thank you so much to our Regional Director, Dr. Evelyn R. Catalvero, CESO 4. We are always delighted at her great role to all of us in the Region 11 with her noble mission and undoubtedly influence with her huge efforts acted as our model as a top key official together with our Assistant Regional Director, Dr. Maria Inesi Asuncion, CESO 5, Chief of the CLMD, Chief Janet G. Veloso, Chief of the Education Support Services Division, Chief Dr. Warlito Ihua, Chief of the HRDD, Chief Lorna F. Mapinogos, Chief of the Functional Divisions, Education Program Supervisors of the Region 11, Dr. Maria Shelo Estrada, Dr. George N. Wong, Division Education Program Supervisors, guidance counselors in private and public institutions, our resilient teachers, our supportive school heads, especially to Dr. Riwel A. Alvarez of Santa Ana National High School, Mr. Ray U. Pactor, Mr. Japor Palawan, our PSDSS in the Region 11. Thank you so much. And this has been Maureen Ava Acuna saying, to God be the glory. we are officially closing this program in 5, 4, 3,
Three.
2, 1. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you,
Welcome
dear.
to Davao Region Connect, in support of the comprehensive region-led learning continuity plan. I Teach, integrating technology, academic community, and the household, ensuring every learner is safe and protected anytime, anywhere. Anchored on Sulong Educalidad, this is DepEd Regional Office 11, delivering quality education across Davao Region.